A couple of our board members. Actually, Paula. Okay. To the Brentwood community, and on behalf of the board and everybody back there in that Bellinger room, we're sorry for coming out late, but we are taking care of valuable district business. With that being said, I would like to invite everybody to please stand for the pledge. Thank you very much. So I guess the first order of business is that I'm going to ask on behalf of the entire board and this district, once we get into the start of a meeting, we are going to demand that nobody approach the dais for any reason. Before and after the meeting, I guess that would be a case-by-case basis. But if there's anything that needs to be given to board members, Mr. Lochner, coming up to the dais as the meeting is informal session is not something that's acceptable. We are going to ask security to try to please enforce that rule. We're not trying to be difficult. What we're trying to do is, just highlight the fact that we are in a formal meeting. So please, to everybody or anybody who's out there, please don't approach the board when we are in session. Thank you very much. So what we're going to do is go to questions on agenda items. There were forms that were put on the back, or I'm not sure where they were, I think in the back of the room, on agenda items, and this is a bit of a change from what we've done in the past. So we are going to take questions on agenda items in writing. The forms will always be back at the back of the room, and they'll be filled out by the person who has the question, and the question has to be specific. So I'm looking at the first form, and it's okay, and I think I can understand it. So the first question on B2EE. 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 Page 10. It's the dental plan third-party administrator agreement. I'm going to ask Ms. O'Connor, maybe if you can just answer the question, how many people will receive this benefit?
It's a contractual benefit, so, the unions that participate in this, it's, I know BTA is the administrators, clerical. So those are the units that get this benefit, and it's nothing new. This is something that's been ongoing for many, many years. It's our self-funded dental program.
Okay. We have a second sheet here that has the community member's name, but no questions. They're just several, just in general. What we're going to need is specific questions written on the form. If you have a chance to write the questions, that would be great.
gave us no time.
I don't know, Ms. Hoey, were the forms back there?
How are we supposed to come up with questions when you just posted the agenda today?
We did post the agenda, I think, by 1 o'clock. I believe that it was on
12 o'clock, we sent it.
by just about noon, which is standard for every meeting.
And your answers give rise to more questions, so
Okay.
why would we move through something like this?
And there's a new format for our meeting. I'm sorry that, that this is going to take a little bit for everybody to get accustomed.
Did the board vote on this?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we did. We changed the policy. So we changed the policy on public meetings. So that's, I don't remember the policy number, but it's the policy that the district has on public participation in business meetings. So that is where the change was, and we did that, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And there's one more person who did the same thing, who had the agenda item, but there are no questions. What we're going to ask the public is to please, we're even giving a chance to send the questions to the district clerk prior to our coming out to the public meeting. And for anybody who is coming here and didn't have a chance to do that, they could ask the questions, and write the questions down as they wait for us to come out. So with that being said, I am going to ask.
I would like to ask my questions on agenda items. And
Listen.
this could potentially be yet another legal situation. The Board of Education needs to hear questions about what is going on so that you guys actually can be informed about what you're doing.
Okay,
So
so,
I definitely, as a taxpayer, want to ask questions about what's going on tonight. And I need to hear your reaction, because your reaction, your answer to the question oftentimes gives rise to other questions.
okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small break. You're more than welcome to submit your questions in writing to the district clerk. This,
Come on, Robert, let's all act like adults here, all right? For 60 years,
That's
the
right.
public has had a chance to go to the microphone, ask their question. The board, the president of the board, no matter who it was, all right, answered the question. And that could generate a follow-up question. We can't do that now. This was never brought up at a meeting because it was never discussed. All right? And that is wrong. It's a front against the residents of this community. All right? Well, you didn't take questions during the whatever the heck that's called. Okay? You didn't let us ask questions then. You had meetings that were only in Spanish. Okay? This is garbage. Let us speak. And let the board vote in public that they don't want the community to talk.
I have a question, how is this done in other school
It
districts?
doesn't matter. It's how it's done
Now,
here.
how is it done in other school districts?
this was a part of conversation that we actually had with the superintendent. And through his associations, I do believe that Brentwood is very unique in that matter, in that we are the only district. Mr. Lotion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we've had conversations about this. I believe this was, a few months ago, this was published, how we were going to do it. I think very frequently, to answer your question, Paula, most districts do ask the residents to submit a question in writing, and they're given a specific amount of time to answer that question.
So if the agenda is put out, early, would that be enough time?
Sometimes it is.
No, I'm saying,
In all honesty, sometimes.
but if it was put out early, would that make a difference?
So the agenda, and I want to say that I think that we've done a good job to keeping to that deadline of having it, posted by noon of the day of the meeting.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so
That is horrible. No board has ever before, this board has ever okayed same-day agendas.
so you know what, so
You guys
maybe,
don't get the agenda the same day, I'm sure.
maybe maybe the, Mr. Lotion, maybe the commitment can be to try to get the agenda out, you know, a little earlier. Maybe that's something that you could discuss with your
Yeah,
cabinet.
certainly, certainly. I mean,
So-
if you mandate we get it the day before, I mean, we could certainly do that. There
So-
are, I mean, anybody that's been involved in school districts will know that there is there's always a flurry of activity, quite frankly, quite frankly. And it's not to be deceptive or non-transparent, just there are lots of things that are transpiring right up to the last minute. And to answer the question that was asked, do the board members have the agenda? They actually get frequently updated agendas. So they may get an agenda 2 or 3 days in advance, but it's actually only the first iteration. There might be 3, 4, or 5 iterations after that. And quite frankly, you know, it is because of the size. We have lots of different departments that report to Nadine, who is my secretary, who has to put this agenda together. We obviously have a very extensive HR agenda, which you can see month in and month out. It's quite lengthy, much more than any other district, any other surrounding district that is. We have a very large special education population that obviously there's lots of adjustments there. We have a tremendous amount of contracts that are being reviewed by our attorneys on a daily basis and set up for our approval. So there's lots and lots of, you know, activity every day. And, you know, that's why the agenda is being adjusted right up to last minute.
And you know what, and just to be clear, the Board of Education, I don't think that got the final agenda until yesterday. And that's not that we didn't get, like Mr. Lochner is saying, today, actually. So that's not to say that we didn't get drafts along the way. We absolutely do. I believe that we get the first draft by the end of the week, but there are, like Mr. Lochner said, a lot of moving parts, and the Board of Education is updated. We didn't get our final draft until today, and
What about walk-in
and-
agendas?
and there is,
You, Mr. Feliciano, has many times come in here and say, uh-oh, we got an added agenda item here.
and you know what?
How do I know?
And here's the thing about it is that we really have almost done away. I mean, the very, very few times in the last couple of years that we have had walk-in resolutions. That is something that we, to your point, that is something that we did try to do away with. And I believe we've been really good.
Only for the last
Yeah.
18 months we've been on the
So-
road.
so-
So there's been no walk-in.
Honest with you.
So,
This is the community, seriously. They should be able to come to the mic and ask questions if they're this adamant about it.
and there will be a
All
point at
right,
the end.
no, they should be
There will
able
be
to
a
come
point at
right
the end of the
now and
meeting.
ask questions.
Your opinion
I'm
will
sorry.
change the future of this district based on the decisions you make tonight. And when we have no interaction with you about board agenda items, you are putting this district at risk for making bad decisions, sir.
So I am going to give you a chance to put some questions in writing. And this is a change.
Why do we have the microphone there?
Can I just
Why do
ask,
we have people here who are monitoring the microphone?
Ms. Burgos?
just had a question. I remember when we passed the policy, but I didn't think the policy was as explicit as saying that the question had to be in writing. I remember that the answers, if we didn't have them here at this time, we could assign somebody to be responsible for answering the question.
It was
Just to be
specific.
fair, I just tried to look up the policy and I couldn't get on the website.
Says that your notice says that that you should submit something in writing if you're not gonna be at the board meeting. That's what the notice says.
That's right.
So we are accepting questions to the district clerk and accepting questions in writing here at this meeting.
Can we make an exception since this is the first time maybe? I don't want to set a precedent, but I did try and look up
This
the
is not
policy.
right.
And I couldn't get on the website, because I wanted to see exactly what it said, and it's just not available. That's what I was consulting with Kathy before. But maybe we can make an exception for this first meeting. Really, at our last meeting, we had very few people here in person, and we have a few more today. So just out of courtesy, I think.
I agree.
It might be
I'm sorry.
With the idea that we are going to
And
be
then
accepting,
moving forward, we'll,
It's just another way for you to avoid questions from the audience.
with the idea,
That's all it is, Ron.
Ms. Trustee Burgos, with the idea that we would be accepting questions in writing in future, in all
I
future
want to
meetings.
look at the policy again, so I don't want to answer that right now. I want to make sure that I am clear about the policy. But I'm just saying for tonight, since we're here, and there are obviously people who want to make comments, that we make an exception. And that we allow them to
what I
speak,
just-
and it is the first meeting, just to be fair.
I would-
People may not have come in with the mindset that they had to write it down because it is
Yeah,
something.
no, I also, with all due respect, I do want to remind you that we did have these
Okay.
conversations.
But I think Mr. Morse's point is correct, and Kathy, you can verify that. If the notice did say that if you couldn't be present, you could submit answers, then I think we should,
No.
We should take a second look.
I don't believe that that's what the
that I
notice.
can look at
said.
right now. I will
I
look
can
it
read
up.
Yep.
the notice too.
Mr.
Yeah, I'm going to
District
look it up
Clerk,
myself.
do you have the notice?
It's in our emails, so I'm gonna pull it up.
I'd like to know
If they
which
cannot
board
come.
member made that motion.
I believe it was unanimously approved.
No, not approved.
Who's
Who made the motion?
I don't remember.
Whose idea
You
was it?
remember the motion, but you don't remember who made it.
Whose idea was it
Six
to
board
change
members
the
up
policy?
there.
Whose idea was it to change the policy?
That's right. Whose idea was it?
Can you-
Which board
can you
member?
please-
I'll ask
folks, can I
everybody.
just-
Can you please,
Everyone
please,
said
please,
no.
this is,
Then I know it's Maria Prescott.
this is, yeah.
Guys, if I may
have
just
the
say something
notice.
too, I mean, one of the reasons behind the changes to the procedures is for this, what we're experiencing right now. There's really no reason to be screaming at these board members. No, Andy, there isn't, okay?
Okay, I
We
do
could
have
be
the-
gentlemen, we could be ladies here, and we could come to a decision. But I think what's happened over the years is that people are going to the microphone and they're really just screaming at people who volunteer a tremendous amount of time in this thankless job. And I do believe all they're attempting to do is set some parameters so they can listen to a question cogently formed, asked, and they will answer it as best they can. Okay, but that's all we're asking. But here it is, right away, we're degenerating into a screaming match. I don't understand
Only
it.
because,
All right, can I
only
read?
because Mr. Feliciano is forcing this down the community's throat.
No, actually-
We used to have a clock there. That when you got up there, you had 5 minutes to say something.
Can I say something though? But Mr. Feliciano and this board actually took the clock away because it infuriated the community members. So they actually listened.
Okay.
But
And-
you don't think this is gonna infuriate?
Well, you know what? There's growing pains, but I do think that they deserve a little calmer, and they're
May-
working
may I-
it out.
Mr. Lochner, can I read what's on the notice?
Yeah.
Just so maybe, I think there might be some miscommunication, and I am going to ask again that we be a little more lenient. But what it says on the notice is, on the very bottom, questions from the public can be emailed to khoey@bufsd.org by 6 PM if you cannot attend the meeting. So that's if you cannot attend. So we have people here present. Now, I know that the forms are available in the back, but like I said, maybe it'll take some getting used to, and I think this time we should allow them to ask the questions.
Okay, so just to be clear, Trustee Burgos,
We're not turning it
what you're saying is that the statement that, was made was erroneous, you're reading from the.
What do you mean erroneous? This is
No,
what
no,
it
no,
says.
not your statement. You're saying correctly, because there was somebody who said that they were allowed to ask the question if they came here in person, and that only applied to people who couldn't attend. And what we're saying is that people who are in attendance and people who can't would submit their questions in writing to the board. So
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, I wasn't sure. If you're agreeing with me, then is
Yes,
it okay
yes,
if they ask the
I'm
questions?
agreeing with you.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
thank you.
agreeing with you.
So are we going to allow questions, sir?
So basically, what we're trying to do, is get the community to submit their questions in writing to the Board of Education via. the
Mr.
district-
Feliciano, can I interrupt for a minute? I have a little bit of a problem with that because we do have some community members, maybe not somebody here, I'm not sure, but we do have some community members who may not be able to write a question or have the right language to write a question. And I think it's something we should probably have further discussion about. the
Okay,
issue of writing the
so-
question. I mean, I think for today, if we can make an exception, we should, and then discuss it so that it doesn't become just an exception, and we can just revisit this whole issue.
So, I mean, so to the point that you're making, so if they are submitting questions in a different language, let's just say.
Right, but what about, we do have some community members who have not been schooled and may not be able to formulate or write a question. And they should have equal access to ask questions.
Okay, so we can find a way to accommodate that, but I do think that the premise should still remain the same and that those questions should be, even
Can we
if it's-
discuss more details later? I just think to move it along, maybe we should let them ask the questions, and then maybe we can have more. You know, there's a policy committee that can relook at that, and we can discuss it as a board. And I think that if it's becoming an issue, it's something we should revisit.
Okay, so, anybody else? Any other board members that want to express an opinion? Yes, no? So we have a suggestion that we deviate from what we were going to try to do tonight. Is there anybody that's opposed to that, understanding that we are going to continue the conversation as a board, and that we are going to, try to continue to promote this concept?
Well, I'm not going to say that, Robert.
Okay.
What I said is that I think we should let people speak tonight, and that we as a board should revisit it. I'm not going to commit right now
No.
to saying that that's what I'm going to promote, because
No.
I'm having an issue with it right now.
Okay, and that's fair enough.
Thank you.
So then, anybody opposed to the idea of providing that for tonight? No opposition? Okay. So we do have Mr. Como, who had a question on A3 and D1F.
I'm sorry.
You want to come to the podium, please?
Can you repeat the number of the question, the letter?
It's A3 and D1F. We don't know what the question is.
No, but the letters, that I can look it up. A3?
A3.
Okay,
A3,
okay.
at the reorganization meeting, I believe you guys made a mistake. And since the reorganization minutes are on the thing, all right, this board, since its conception, has always gone by Robert's rules. Robert's rules means we have to have a first and a second to nominate the president, first vice president, and second vice president. I brought it up at the reorganization meeting as a point of order that wasn't done. The attorney didn't have an answer, okay? So I'm saying right now, in checking Robert's rules of order, you need a first and a second on all three of those positions. New York State School Board Association, you need a first and second on all those positions. That's my stand on that one. All right? And the other one was, what was the number? I didn't write it down.
D1F.
D1F, okay. D1F. Who is going to be that person?
I'm sorry, is it B, like boy?
D is in dog.
D1F. D1F. We do have a candidate, Mr. Dwayne Diavilar.
Okay,
The last name is Davilar, and that he would be, the first blank would be appointed Dwayne Diavilar as assistant principal for 4-year probationary period effective August 23rd of 2021.
No,
Um,
August 15th, 2021.
what school?
This is what I got from Stacy and from Neil, that Dwayne would be starting August 15th, 2021, is that not right?
Okay, the week prior.
Is that when the other
I
APs
think
come back?
the elementary, I think, starts after.
September.
Training. He does start on the 23rd, but we're having training, so they want to come in.
25th, okay. So we are going to modify the start date. There's some training that's available in the district, and that is why we're going to move that up a week. So the 4-year probationary period effective August 15th, 2021 through August 15th of 2025. Those were the blanks that we would be filling in.
What school?
Schools aren't assigned. What we do is we hire based on tenure area. That's the, up to the superintendent to make those designations.
I got more for later on, and I'm coming to the mic.
I have one, Mr. Moss, D1A and D1B. What is the last date there?
Good evening, everyone. My name is William Moss. I am a resident of Brentwood, a former teacher. I taught mathematics in Brentwood for 11 years. I'm also the Director of Academic Affairs in the Lawrence School District. Okay, I do have lots of questions. My first question is about D1B. What role, if any, did seniority play in the 8 series in the selection process? What role, if any, did seniority play in the selection process for 8A, B, and C?
8.
What numbers? I'm sorry.
Can you just,
A?
8?
B and C.
Oh,
Am I off? Is that not security?
we're looking at D1A?
D1B.
certificate.
Oh, D1B.
8A, B, and C. What role, these are security positions, local, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, local 237 positions, and I am asking what role, if any, did seniority play in the selection process for 8A, B, and C?
Ms. Lotion, I mean, if you have an answer.
Yeah, what happens with these particular positions is that there is a committee that's formed, just as identified in our policy in 9240. So there was a committee that was formed. People are, obviously they apply for the position. I would imagine that seniority in terms of years in the district would play a part, but that is only a portion of the evaluation as to who to put forward. So this committee met, they interviewed a number of candidates for these positions, and the committee comes to a consensus, makes a recommendation to the Director of Security, who then makes a recommendation to me.
So seniority, these positions were not given based on seniority?
No, it's not, Mr. Moss, because it's not in their contract. As a matter of fact, I had that discussion. We actually verified it. It's not in the contract where it's mandatory to move someone forward based on seniority. There are certain components of the 237 contract, certain jobs throughout the contract where it is, seniority does play a role in your advancement, but not in this case.
Okay. So would security be in the same category as driver messenger
I'm sorry, one more time?
with regard to seniority? Would security be in the same category as driver messenger with regard to seniority and its usage in the selection process?
I'd have to verify that. I'd have to go through the contract.
All right, D1A. I am, as you know, a huge advocate for certification of teachers in this district. Last month, the Commissioner of Education admonished the school district because I had to write a petition because individuals were being hired here who were not certified for positions to which they were hired. So I need some explanations as to why I can't find some certifications. Now, I understand that sometimes people change their names, so that could be the reason why I can't find these names on the public certification access. I'm willing to teach anybody how to do that on the board so that I don't have to do that here. I can't find certification for Jennifer Relegado.
Can you please just give the number on the?
Oh, okay, that's number 9. Okay, I see no certification, and I look for Alexa O'Rourke, which is
what's
number
the-
10J, sorry, 10J.
10J.
10L, Christina Romero. 10N, Alexander Santora. I think that's a guy, so I don't know about his name changing. Well, I can't find him.
Are those the only items?
Those are the only ones where I can't find a certification, but there's some other ones that are problematic because the district it appears to me on this agenda that you are attempting to give people contracts for a length of time that exceeds their certification, which of course is illegal.
Can you explain that, Mr. Moss? I'm not sure what you're.
Okay, so let's say somebody's certification runs out tomorrow, but you're giving them a contract to teach for 4 years. That's illegal, right? Because you know that the expiration of their certification ends before the end of the contract that you're giving them. So you're not allowed to give people a contract that's longer than their own certification to teach. Because then you're locking in somebody, again, to be uncertified for the remainder of whatever the length is that they're not certified for.
Mr. Moss, if I can just jump in.
So I'll tell you who it is. Would you like me to tell you who it is?
So before you moved on, so I do know that, these certifications are provisional and permanent. And it could be that, what you're looking at is provisional certificate, and the idea would be that they would get their permanent certificate before.
Yeah, but that's not something you're allowed to do.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that is the expectation. Certainly, this board, this particular board has acted on removing
Yes.
teachers who did not get their certifications or who lost their certifications because.
Right, what I'm saying is tonight, you would be breaking the law, education law, if you give someone a contract that's longer than what they're certified for.
No, I actually disagree with that,
Okay.
Mr. Moss, that you're allowed to have an initial certification, which many of these teachers do. They have initial certifications. They then have 5 years to complete that. However, it doesn't end there. They actually can apply for an extension of an additional 3 years.
I'm not saying that you're wrong in what you're saying. I think you need to hear what I'm saying. Surely people have licenses that span 5 years, and so
Right.
they can get a probationary contract for 4 years if it started last year or if it starts this year. Not a problem. The problem is when someone's contract is longer than the deadline on their certification, and they don't have professional or permanent certification. You can't give them a contract that's longer than they're certified.
No, again, what we're
You
doing.
can't give them a contract that's longer than they're certified. I'm letting you know that if you do, you know what's gonna happen, okay? You're gonna see some things in writing about that so that you stop. Okay, so I'm just letting you know, I'll tell you the names if you want them. If you don't want them, rest assured, you're gonna get some paperwork about it.
I think it would be inappropriate to mention something like that in public. You can let the clerk know and we can take a look into it. But I
Well,
will,
I'm asking you to take that into consideration before you vote on it, because if I leave tonight and you have voted to give people illegal contracts, I'm going to go home, and on my day off tomorrow, I'm going to write you up, and you're going to get more things presented to you.
Okay, I have a question. Are those contracts written in a way that it will only be carried out if that teacher sustains certification throughout that period?
Yeah.
Contingent upon, I mean, well,
That
I'm
is-
asking, Billy. I'm
I've
asking.
read, I've foiled for several of your contracts, so I've read them, and it doesn't have that in there.
Because,
I would
I know
have
what you're
to-
saying, but I do know that, if a teacher has that 5-year limit,
There-
but they start teaching on the 4th year.
yeah, they do.
There's nothing wrong with just truncating the dates, and then when the person gets their certification, you sit at this board meeting, you expand it. There's nothing wrong with that.
How it's written.
But there is something wrong when you're sitting here as governmental agents, which you are, school board trustees, and you're purposefully doing something that's against education law. That's a problem. So what I'm saying to you is, all you have to do is if a person's certification runs out in 2023, instead of voting tonight for 2024, pull it back to 2023 and do it the right way.
Mr. Moss, what items are you talking about specifically?
I have
Violating
item
personnel,
6,
I mean,
I have item 10A, item 10G, and item 10K. That's what I have. I also see a step MA 215 that looks very wrong on item 10K.
Okay, what we have is, we have some teachers that have been teaching for us for a number of years in various capacities, okay? And, you know, I'm just looking at one, I don't have my glasses on for all of them.
No, that's not, let me say what I think it is, sir, before you say that, because I don't think that's what this is.
No.
It's MA 215, I think it's MA 15, step 2.
Which one are we talking about now?
10K. Don't bury yourself, Mr. Lotion, I'm trying to help you here. 10K, MA 215 should be MA 15 2.
Okay, yeah, there is a typo there. Right.
Thank
Well,
you.
that we certainly appreciate, Mr. Moss.
Okay.
That's a typo.
But we can correct
We
that,
can,
amending.
that is 10K.
Did you guys get the
MA
ones that have dates that are too far into the
15,
future?
So it's 15.
I can repeat them for you if you need it.
So it should-
Item 6, item 10A, item 10G, and item 10K, they have certifications that expire before the contract that you have here would end.
So, Mr. Moss, because if you can just give me a minute, we are going to ask council to weigh in on the
Okay.
issue that you just brought up.
But if I can just talk to Candace for one moment. Candace?
For everybody's knowledge, I mean, basically what we just had was the superintendent and the council just making sure that they were saying the same things. Council is going to address the issue, Mr. Moss, that you've brought up, and I think there's going to be a very clear explanation.
Great, so thank you for the questions, Mr. Moss. I think you're raising important points. I'm not Labor Counsel, as you know, I'm General Counsel, but I did just check with Labor Counsel to confirm that what I'm saying is accurate. So the person that is being employed by the district as a certificated personnel employee must be properly certified at the point at which they're employed. So whoever is on the agenda tonight needs to be certified in the area in which they're hired. If their certification lapses before their contract ends, then that would essentially void the contract, and the district would actually be obligated to terminate the person because we can only have certified individuals working in those capacities. So as long as they're certified tonight, it's really upon them, it's incumbent upon them to maintain that certification throughout the duration of their contract.
I appreciate the rationale, but you're going to be hearing from me on that one. I do have a question about the elementary positions, D1A 5 through 10A. Were these positions posted on the district website? Any one of these 7?
What was that, one more time?
These are the elementary positions, 5 through 10A. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Were any of them posted on the district website?
I would think that, we've posted for elementary school positions. I mean, I can't tell you right now when they were, but I'm confident that we posted for these positions.
Were any of them posted on OLAS?
It has been customary to post both internally and externally. We post on OLAS and internally at the same time.
Do you know when these were posted, sir? Because I'm having trouble, I check every week the district website, which of course has been changed recently, as well as on OLAS, and I can't tell you when these were posted. So that's why I'm asking you.
You do have to
if they were
remember, if I could
posted.
just say that, I can get you those postings, but if you're looking for a posting that was just recent, remember, lots of these candidates, I imagine, went through a vetting process. It could be many, many weeks ago. So there could be a posting that happened earlier, and now they're being appointed.
Yeah, Mr. Moss, so Mr. Lotion will give you that information. Maybe he'll give it to.
We have the assistant superintendent of elementary is here.
Okay, there's no way that we can answer that question right now. So Mr. Lotion will give the district clerk that information, and she will send it to you in terms of the postings that you're looking for. I just wanted to jump in because last meeting, there was a question about why aren't certificated positions posted on the website? I do believe that they are posted on the website and they are posted on OLAS. We did have some work being done on the website, so maybe that was down for a little bit, but that's usually a customary practice.
At this point, I am going to ask the Board of Education to do its due diligence and make sure that when you are appointing teachers in this district, that you get a copy of the posting. Have you all seen the resumes of these individuals? Of the people who are up for a vote tonight? Have you seen their resumes or their proofs of their certifications?
So the vetting process is done by district employees, staff, and it's upon the recommendation of the superintendent that we are appointing. So that piece of it belongs to district staff and the superintendent.
Have you seen their disclosure forms as to who they're related to in the
The
district?
disclosure forms are sent as part of the HR package, yes.
So you don't get the resumes, you don't get the certifications, you do get the disclosures, and you don't see the postings. Is that correct?
Sometimes we see the postings. There are some postings that are sent out.
The board frequently asks me for the postings, and I send that to them. So that is frequently, given to them. But in all honesty, I think we've gone through this before, Mr. Moss. I mean, I don't know that a board should be going through the resumes of every teacher that's been being hired. I don't think that's been the past practice of any of the boards.
Of course it has, absolutely. In fact, I'm here as testimony to let you know that past boards, absolutely, from Tomas Del Rio, George Talley, Helen Moss, Anna Martinez, have every single one of those presidents stepped in and made sure, did inspective oversight, their fiduciary duty, and made sure that they got that information.
So if there is a question or a circumstance where a board member does have, a concern, that's very specific, and Mr. Lochner and his staff are all very, very accommodating. I'm just trying to.
Listen, I understand you, but I also witnessed.
Can you just give me a minute?
Sure.
So I am, this is just my personal opinion, I do believe that what you're bordering on is micromanagement of the district, and that is not the role of the board. We either have faith in the staff that's doing this work and the superintendent that's behind it, or we don't. When there is a concern, we do ask questions, and we always get the information. So I would tend to agree.
I think it's important that so that you can sleep at night and not know that I'm coming with another package.
Yep.
I think it's important that you really have in your possession the information that you need to know that you are approving a legal person to be working in this capacity. I don't see how that is micromanaging. I think that that is really conducting yourselves in the professional manner that the Board of Education should be conducting itself. You should have that in your possession to know that everything that was supposed to happen in the process actually happened. And so that the people who are actually before you have the proper certification. This just happened in June, that the Commission of Education had to admonish you and the rest of the board about hiring people who weren't certified in October of 2020. This was not like eons ago. So that just came in, so I get to talk now, and I get to give my recommendations as a resident about how you conduct yourselves, having been admonished by the Commissioner of Education over a complaint that I issued because I'm an educator in the community. Eventually, you have to start listening to some people who are in the business in this community. You can hate me all you want. At the end of the day, you have a fiduciary responsibility to know how to run this district. This is what you signed up for. Do it right, or get out of the way. Please do not vote. I've corrected, no offense to present parties, I have corrected attorneys before. Please do not vote to put forward contracts that exceed the length of the certifications of those individuals. Thank you.
So with that being said, I am going to continue with the agenda items. Agenda B1, financial reports, as per the agenda. Consent agenda, B2A through B2HH. There are some questions on a couple of these items. Ms. Burgos, you want to start?
I have two, yes. B2X is the contract for Graham International Consulting and Research.
You said B2X?
B2X, like Xavier. So I noticed the year that we're approving here is for services rendered for the year 2020, 2021, which is now ended. So I'm guessing this is retroactive. I just want to make sure that that's the case. That
That's a very
we're
good question.
authorizing that this company get paid this amount of money for services that were already rendered.
Ms. O'Connor, can you
It's from MBK
speak on that?
monies.
I'm really not sure if that goes back to last year. Were you involved with them?
You know,
Well, I
Ms.
have a
Burg-
follow-up question that if it's not, then will we be authorizing at some point for the 2021-22 school year?
You know, Ms. Burgos, and that's, I mean, and I'm going to say that Dr. Keel was the person who was
I know.
handling this.
Right.
And that's going to be a tough one. So, you know what, if we have a question, why not just table this, right, this matter, so that we can make sure, Mr. Loshner?
Yeah, if you,
Is this going to, like,
I do think that this is payment for, I believe, and I'd have to go back and check the portal for the supporting documentation,
Do
but
we
I
have
do
any?
believe that this is some, remember we had that ceremony over in the
no, I know what it's for,
cafeteria?
and this,
And that cost us some
This-
money, and I think that's what we're.
no, I
referring to.
know that that's what it's for, but I thought we typically get it beforehand so that the person can get paid when the service is rendered, so. Yeah, and I know we have had this before, I
Right.
just didn't, I couldn't find it on an earlier agenda, but I know it's a yearly event. No, I
It
know this
happened
happened
already,
already, and this is just authorizing payment. So I don't want to get in the way of somebody getting paid
Right,
for something
that's-
that they did. I just think that moving forward, can we maybe take a look at how we, bring it to the board?
There's, I mean, if you notice throughout the course of the year, we have two MBKs
I do.
on the agenda probably
I know.
2 or 3 times. And I think we normally do pay them in advance. However, there may be times, however, that we're paying them
Okay.
retroactively.
So I remember last year I asked something about the same item, whether this amount of money included the refreshments that are served for that day. And I thought it was a larger amount, so I will have to do my due diligence and look.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we can look at that. So I have another MBK question. I mean, I'm not going to ask to table this or to remove it because the services were already rendered, right? And I don't want this person to not get paid. But I do want us to take a look at how, whatever that process
Okay.
is that brings it to the table. And then, I know that we contract this out and it comes out of MBK money, but can we possibly look at getting maybe the service rendered by somebody even in our community? Just a thought. because this is an outside contractor that's not doing. I know they've been doing it for a while, so it's just
Yep.
something to consider. So I have another question that happens to be MBK on B2Z, contract for West Islip Youth Enrichment Services. There were no dates on this resolution, so the same question, is this for services that were already rendered, or are we approving this for the 2021-22 school year? And this one I will ask the table if nobody has an answer, because we
No, yeah, let me,
have a contract.
do you have access to the portal right now?
No.
You can, I normally bring the laptop for that reason.
Okay, I mean, any issue with tabling this?
No, just
Is
so
this something that
I mean,
you-
I don't think anybody, this is obviously for the school year, right? So I think if we table it for 1 month.
Yeah,
to
I
investigate,
think it
don't
is for the
it'll affect-
upcoming year, the YES program over there. I just don't know the relationship right now. I can't really connect all the dots for you, Julie. So if you're more
Okay.
comfortable with tabling it
Tabling
for
it
1
for now.
month, then I can give you a better
Okay,
explanation.
I'm going to make
We do
a motion
have
that we table it.
our resident MBK, as we know, we
I
miss
know.
Dr. Akil for
We're-
lots of reasons. This would be one of them. You know, she handled all of these contracts.
This is on, how is it?
Robert?
Any other questions?
Oh,
Yes,
wait.
I'd like to table B2M.
Robert, I'm sorry, Eileen, before you go on, Kathy does have this is for this, for MBK? No.
No, this is for the yes program.
Oh, the yes program. Oh, this is for the summer, but there's no date, so we either amend. It says here, and you're sure
Is that
this
the
what this
contract?
is? Yeah,
Yeah, is that for the
Yes.
YES program over in West?
Yeah.
so. I mean, I don't know what their terms of payment are, if they get paid at the end of the service being rendered, or,
Yeah, let me just take a.
okay.
Eileen, what was that? I'm sorry.
I wanted to table B2M, the school food service award of bids, to further to have the opportunity to discuss with Carol Ann.
Which one?
B2M, it's page 4?
Yes,
Bottom of page four.
B2 Michael.
Oh, it's not, it's the 14.
Page 4.
Typically, it doesn't come close to that. Yeah, yeah, that's the student workshop that we're, and it is through the West Islip YES program. It's used to be, we made this in June, so I believe it's for the summer.
Yes, it begins
Yeah.
on.
It says June 17th.
Right.
So do we have MBK students?
That's, yes.
Well, yeah,
The yes program.
Yeah, but it's for MBK, the money's coming out, okay, let me just.
Sure.
Okay, so just the discussion we're having. Ms. Hoey has the contract for the YES program, and I just want to verify. I will try. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Magic words. All right, this is for MBK, and it's for a summer program. The terms of the contract are from June 17th to August 15th. And to provide the service, my follow-up question to Mr. Lochner, when we were having our side conversation, was, do we have MBK students that are participating in the summer program? Because it's coming out of MBK funds. Is it solely for MBK, or is it open to everyone?
I believe
Do
that's
we know?
just the MBK students that are involved in that,
So
in the YES program.
Okay, and it's for
But
the
again,
summer.
if you're more comfortable, I can verify that for you. But it is occurring
I mean,
right
if it
now.
is this, I think we should amend the resolution and put the
Right.
dates in so that there's no confusion moving
Right,
forward
for this summer.
for the summer. Are we okay with that, or?
And remember, that's,
see it?
when we see up to 14,800,
That is specific for the summer, yeah, the dates. Just want to make sure it's the same contract. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it says.
As your, any other questions? So as of now, we are going to table, or there's going to be a motion to table B2M. I just had, Ms. Lotion, it's one of the questions that I had asked you prior. I had just some questions on B2DD, contract for Equidity Incorporated. It seems like a very large amount of money for professional development. I know that, this board has questioned these things in the past. And, and I appreciate all of the effort that you make and everybody makes here. But can you just explain what this is about and, what it is that, we're hoping to get with this investment?
Yeah, actually, I'll speak for a little bit, and then I'll ask Ms. Palmer to speak a little bit about it, because she's been really at the forefront of this. We're actually real excited about this opportunity to, partner with Equity. And it's something that, we have done I think, quite well recently, and that's delivering professional development to our teachers and administrators, and something we take quite seriously, quite honestly. And we put a great deal of effort into vetting different programs to ensure that our teachers are getting up-to-date, professional development that helps them in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. And this particular one it's a series of modules that is designed for teachers to take a look at online. And what we're doing this summer is we're bringing in teachers to go through the modules on a 4-day training along with some administrators. They're going to go through it. They're going to get trained on the modules, and then the following week they're going to come in and they're going to spend another 4 days writing a curriculum based on what they learned the prior week. This is actually a 2-year subscription. We're going to have the access to these modules, and there's quite a few, and Ms. Palmer actually knows the number far better than I do. But this is something that, has been vetted by both BIPSO and BTA. They spent a great deal of time going through the modules. We've had the opportunity to take a look at the modules without actually having a subscription. So Ms. Palmer, along with a number of people, have actually gone through the modules, taken a look at it, and said, wow, this is really powerful stuff that could help our teachers. And it's designed, obviously, K through 12. But, Ms. Palmer, I know this is your baby, so take it away.
We actually also...
If you want to step to the microphone, that would be great.
Okay, actually, these are, as Mr. Loshner says, they are self-directed courses. We get about 25 hours of coursework entitled, this particular course is Reinventing the Classroom. As you know, last year when we had to close during the emergency closing, the infrastructure in the district wasn't as strong. Our students didn't have devices. We weren't a one-to-one device school. Our teachers didn't have devices, but our teachers learned how to teach in a hybrid remote learning environment. And I think what we all learned from this is that using the technology helped teachers to plan. They became curators of lessons. Our students learned, I think one thing that we all learned is that we have high expectations for what kids can do on their own with technology. So this is part of us supporting a one-to-one device initiative. The Tech Steering Committee, and Candace is here also, they would like for our students to bring their devices to school. I think they voted for grades 4 through 12? 3 through 12. Right, so now that students have their devices in the classroom and teachers have devices, how do we teach, how do we create classrooms that are tech-infused? How do we build executive function in our students? How do we get them to learn independentally? How do our teachers create class-blended learning environments? And what kinds of lessons do they create? So these Reinventing the Classroom are a series of modules. Normally, BOCES charges $595 a person to take a 2-week course. Because we are a large district, they gave us the course for $99 per teacher, and we own them for 2 years. Some of the topics are formative versus summative assessment. What does that look like in the classroom? Differentiation, how do you give children voice and choice? Problem-based, project-based, this is my favorite, and pursuit-based learning. How do we create classrooms where kids are, where teachers are facilitators of learning, and how can they take an arc of inquiry approach to learning so that kids can become independent thinkers and learners. So the board, I actually sent Ms. O'Connor, because I know Ms. O'Connor said that you were inquiring. I sent you all links to some of these courses so that you can sign on and see what they're all about. Additionally, they gave us an extra course. They gave us the equity lens, because I know that as a community and what has been happening in the world, it's important for us to reflect on our learning environment and look at diversity, equity, inclusion, and begin to engage our teachers and our administrators and, of course, children in that. But it gives us the opportunity to explore and brainstorm problems that are focused on instructional equity and develop resources, instructions that we can use immediately in the classroom. So I am excited about this for many reasons. We learned that you can learn anywhere, anytime with technology. And so very often, if you recall, we used to pull teachers out of the classroom, and we'd have to get substitutes for teachers. And now it's a different environment. We've learned that, let's say Dr. Jackson's here with us right now. She's a principal of the school. She and maybe her third grade teachers might want to learn about problem-based learning. She might say to her teachers, during the month of November, I'd like for you to, during the faculty meeting or during a grade level meeting, I'd like for you to sign on and take that particular topic within that course. And then next month, we're going to all come back and we're going to debrief. So there are different structures that can be put in place to support it. The other thing we can do is we can have a train-the-trainer model where our teachers get trained by some of the EdQuity consultants so that then they can turnkey at the school level, or they can offer these courses through the teacher center, and some of our teachers, new teachers who might need credits, could take some of these courses that are given by our teachers. So, it's really, it's giving everyone something to teach, if you will. It's giving them the knowledge that they need to move this district forward.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. So I have just a question on that. I don't know if you can answer it, Ms. Palmer. I was just wondering, so part of the concern in the past with some of these professional development courses is measuring success. So what are the outcomes and how are we measuring success on this particular professional development service?
Well, the first thing, one way to measure success would be through student work product, right? So we're hoping that, for example, if teachers engage in learning about problem-based or project-based learning, that their units of study will be exemplars for that learning. They'll become artifacts of that learning. Or if teachers learn how to design models within a flipped classroom model, when administrators are walking inside of a classroom, they'll see right away the difference in the pedagogical skill. So I think that administrators will be able to witness it. I also think that this gives us the opportunity to create something that something that was near and dear to Dr. Akil's heart, instructional rounds, where after teachers are given this professional learning, we can create learning communities where teachers can go in and they can just kind of informally observe each other teach. They can then have, administrators can have debriefing sessions about what you learned, what is it that you're getting out of these modules. But clearly, I think the proof will be in the data. I think that when you elevate teaching quality, then you elevate student improvement.
So
I
these-
think,
So these courses are going to be given over the summer?
well,
no,
we
the
just have
initial-
we have actually a cohort of teachers who are engaging, a small cohort,
Very
success breeds success. We have about 25 elementary school teachers and 25 secondary teachers who are engaging in one of the topics that are included in the larger course, and it's problem-based learning, project-based and pursuit-based learning. So they will learn what that is all about. The second week is then they huddle around their curriculum, and then they begin to create units of study to then teach in their classrooms. And then ultimately, as Mr. Lochner said, the goal would be, like, say, on a September 2nd, on a conference day, that some of these teachers would be able to present out at faculty meetings, kind of share the learning. But on August 24th, we're also sharing this coursework with the administrators, the instructional members of BIPSO, so that they can, learn what these are about, learn how they can structure this kind of professional learning within their school community, learn how they can create PLCs, professional learning communities, and really learn how we can, I think, just empower teachers to reflect on their own craft. And the other thing that I like about this is we always talk about differentiation for students. We have teachers at different paths, they're at different paths. We have new teachers, we have teachers who are maybe 10 years in, we have teachers who are 20 years in. Not all teachers need the same kind of learning. So this could be a powerful tool for an administrator who might say, let's go into a new teacher's classroom and see that the teacher, maybe doesn't really know how to check for understanding, that formative assessment. That administrator could walk back and in that post-op can say to the teacher, I'd like for you to view the hour module on formative and summative assessment, and then, I'd like for you to view that so that at our next meeting, we can kind of talk about it, and hopefully they will be able to see the improvement. The administrator will be able to see that improvement in the classroom.
So you just mentioned the numbers, and I know that we were trying to reach a goal of 75 teachers for each one of the groups.
We were initially this summer, but I think, Mr. Feliciano, many teachers are teaching summer programs too. And we have 40 elementary teachers teaching. And so I think if we didn't have large summer programs like we do, we would have gotten more teachers to participate here. But I am encouraged because this is a 2-year subscription. So I believe that we'll get teachers throughout the year. We'll get them next summer and then the following also. So I am inspired by the work.
I just have another comment. Thank you, Ms. Palmer, for that thorough explanation. The money for this program is coming out of the CARES Act, which I know we were going to get, which is the coronavirus relief
Stimulus.
Stimulus Act.
right.
Thank you. And that's the 3.9 million, if I'm not mistaken, that we have over
No.
a period of 3
No,
years?
this is the stimulus funds that were passed in December.
You're right, it's
Okay.
over
So, yeah,
$18 million.
18.
But there was
Okay, so that's even
also
more.
some
Just-
mention about the grant money. Julie, I don't know if you read Mr. Lochner's email, that there was a possibility of it being subsidized by a grant, Mr. Lochner? I don't know if that's...
This one? I don't know.
Well, this is being paid out of the CRRSA.
Different grant. I think that you made a reference in one of your emails.
Out of the federal funds, I believe, some of this.
Well, this
CARES Act
is the federal fund.
Oh, yes.
I just think that it's, for a 2-year contract, and part of the condition for that money is to improve student outcomes. Am I correct? And
Exactly.
to,
There's multiple.
remediation for
Right.
any regression that went, took place during coronavirus. So I do think that for the amount of money that we, it's a good idea to make this available to our teachers.
In addition to the course, they get a subscription to a monthly newsletter that, kind of talks about what's trending, what's new, what's trending, and connected to, obviously, the technology.
So I have a question. Is this going to be mandated that every teacher take either all the modules or a certain number of modules, or is it going to be up to the individual administrator of a building or the individual teacher?
Well, we are structuring that. That's when the administrators are coming together to talk about the structures and the processes. But the topics were, vetted by, BTA, representatives from BTA. We had people from the teachers from the tech steering committee. We had, administrators, and we all believe that there is some good learning here. And as I said, I think, to be honest with you, Julie, I think that there are opportunities for differentiation for teachers too. Yeah.
Okay, because I understand the concern, because we've had these discussions before, that sometimes we do pay for programs or put programs forward, and the teachers either don't use them or don't fully, get every benefit from it. So I think that if we can get some kind of a commitment that we are going to strive towards getting
There's
teachers.
25 hours, and each month contractually, there's, 2 hours that is allotted for professional
Right.
learning. So the administrators will be using this. I think one of the things that some of the administrators were very excited to see that, they are given a, a framework, if you will.
That's
if you
what
will,
it
which-
is. We just haven't gotten together to come up with a time frame, but it is our intention to have all of the staff members go take every one of these modules. And we just haven't had an opportunity to structure that yet.
Yeah.
With all of the administrators, obviously, as Ms. Palmer said, some will travel at different, paces. But it is our hope that every teacher takes these.
And the goal is to develop a common language so that we can calibrate. So when we're talking about problem-based learning, everyone knows what that is.
Right.
When we're talking about formative versus summative assessment, everyone knows what it is. Differentiation, voice choice, I think it's a way to calibrate.
And it's also, it's unique in that it's K through 12. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm excited about, as Ms. Palmer said, that it really does give us a common language. So it's not that the elementary school is doing something different this year than the middle school is doing something than the high school, that these modules will be shared district-wide. And we're pretty excited about it.
So, Ms. Palmer, can you tell me how many administrators have signed on? Because I know that you're going to need some oversight or some
I
participation.
actually capped that. Did I cap it at
Even
3?
sign-
Well, right now, we have about five
Five that put in.
attending each session. Right
Okay.
now, we have 5. I will be there. We have the coordinators, the assistant superintendents are attending. We have administrators attending, a few principals. I know Dr.
Soccer
Jackson
session.
is
So will
attending.
that be sort of like turnkey, so those administrators attending will then?
Well, the administrators who are attending will be able to speak to their learning on August 24th, because the leadership is also getting training on this coursework and how you can use this coursework to move your buildings forward.
I have a question. At what point will we be able to see the data? I know we don't want to wait until the end of this, but at what point will we be able to get an idea of if this program is working? I like it, don't get me wrong, but I just want to know, when will we see the data? Because we very rarely see.
Well, for starters, I think we'll be able to share some problem-based units of study that teachers are creating. We are excited about that. We did write a grant. We're hoping to get the grant. It would fund this, fund us $100,000 a year for 3 years to kind of pay for this. We don't know if we got it, but we wrote it just like I just spoke about, the premise being that we want to create tech-infused, dynamic classroom environments. I think, Paula, that any time data is a lagging indicator for, pedagogical skill, I would say you need 3 years to see in a 2 to 3 years. But you could probably, within a year, when teachers begin new instructional practices, you can see growth within a year in the data. For example, Writing to Learn is such a powerful tool that when teachers started to require more writing and thinking in the classroom, getting them to think about their thoughts before, formulate a thought, before reading or after reading or during reading, we notice that there's improvement there, so sometimes you see it immediately. Sometimes one instructional practice within 18 to 23 weeks, you can see great improvement.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the fact that we're doing something proactively, though,
Yes.
to promote the use of those devices in the classroom, because I was wondering, how we were going to integrate that when we all come back together. And I do think that this, is a
I
good
mean,
stepping stone.
it's entitled Reinventing the Classroom, and then she adds learning any place, any time. So it's almost like getting kids to see that they can be independent learners and thinkers, and it's us setting up those structures for children to be able to go home and know exactly what they should be doing, right? It really is a 21st century mindset, preparing children for college and career. And if you start that thinking early in the year, in third, fourth, fifth grade, if teachers say to kids, watch this video tonight. I want you for homework to watch this video tonight. And then tomorrow, we're going to come back in and we're going to talk about it. Or read this little article tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to put you in a fishbowl, and there's a protocol that goes with it, and we're going to talk about what you read. So there are different ways and strategies, I think, to make your classroom more dynamic, more innovative, and I think that we do have a lot of new teachers, and over the next few years we're going to have more new teachers. So sometimes we think that they know it all, and we assume they do, and they don't. And I think that this is a great way for all of us to huddle around something, and then for teachers to have this at their fingertips, to do it at their disposal, or watch something again. That's the beauty of it too. You learn it once, but you want to see it again.
And I also, like I said, I'm excited about the use of the devices in the classroom, and I think because students are used to using them now, those who have been engaged, I think we take a step backwards if we don't really become proactive about including those devices in the instruction.
Right, Julie, we are in grades 3 through 12, we'll be bringing the devices to school every day, but I would have to say that this summer, we obviously have close to 4,000 students attending some program this summer. It's really an amazing number. And I've spent quite a bit of time in the classrooms over in the middle school. They all have their laptops, and they're being used both for ELA and math.
Yeah. I don't think all the elementary schools, my grandson's in a program, and I know, I asked them deliberately,
Right.
Did you use a computer? Did you get a computer?
We actually purposely, Julie, tried to move away for our little babies, K2, 3, because we wanted them to begin to start talking to one another, engage in problem-based learning. We want whole class read-alouds. We wanted them to read books independently, so we set it up like a lit camp. They read around the fire in the morning. There are pretend fires.
Right.
They're making s'mores. So they've been on devices for so long, our young children, that we are actually seeing them talk and communicate, and we're promoting discourse. So
He's very happy. I just want to say.
Okay,
he's very-
good. I'm
I'm the one
glad.
who was asking the questions.
All right.
No, he's happy as a lark that he's going and doing whatever it is they do.
and they are
I was
enjoying
like,
themselves. And Wanda had them bought ice cream for them today. They all got ice
There
cream.
you go.
If
Thank
we
you.
get
Thank
this,
you for the
Thank you again.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
yeah, if we get this grant for 3 years, at the end of each of those 3 years, can we get some preliminary data? That's what I'm asking.
Absolutely. I can give you data at the end of each year.
Yeah, that's
I can
what
give
I
you,
want.
and I can give
Yeah.
you data after each trimester.
Fine.
Right,
We've
we
spoken
have-
about
we have
having
that
our
data
assistant.
now.
I'm sorry, we've spoken about having our assistant superintendents come in.
Right.
And give that to us in an executive session,
Sure.
or maybe even in public
Yeah.
at some point.
And I know that the
But I think we need to
administrators
really
also
do that.
collect data regularly, Paula. They collect that data, that benchmark data. Our teachers benchmark our children, with the running records, the reading records 3 times a year. So there is growth on that continuum, and we can show that growth.
Right.
Sure.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Ms. Palmer. Any other questions?
Nope, I don't
Okay.
think I have it.
So, Mr. Lotion, I'd like to end this particular discussion by saying I know that we asked about the budget for the CARES Act funds. I know that there was going to be a presentation, but that's been put off till next month. So for anybody who's out there asking, what else is this money going to be spent on? I know that we had concerns about trying to outline some of those things. We're hoping that maybe next month we can have a preliminary or a,
Well,
Yeah, what we anticipate giving a PowerPoint presentation next month for the CRSSA funds, which just today, I actually certified it was due on July 15th, which was today. The cabinet, along with Dr. Leone, has put a tremendous amount of time into, and actually, part of the survey will also be, I'm sorry, part of the PowerPoint will be the surveys that we received back from staff members and community members, because that helped us drive what we actually put into, using these funds for.
okay. Thank you.
And that will be next month. And I
Next
thought
month.
like Dr. Leone should be here when we give that.
yep. So just to finish on B2DD, we are going to have to make the correction on the resolution so that.
1 year, right?
So that it does read, it goes from the the second to last sentence. It says, in the areas of diversity and inclusion, semicolon, and a 1-year subscription to MyQ portal. That should be a
2-year?
2-year subscription.
Robert, I just want to put forward that motion again for B2M to be tabled.
So with that, says there's a motion on the table, there's a motion from trustee Felix to, I'm sorry, there's a motion from trustee Felix to table B2M. Could I have a second, please? Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
Thank you.
And we are also going to amend B2Z so that the term of the contract is included, as per the discussion from trustee Burgos. So let me read the resolution as amended. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the president of the Board of Education to enter into an executive contract between the Brentwood Union Free School District and West Islip Youth Enrichment Services for the term of June 17th, 2021 through August 15th, 2021. The contract is for West Islip Youth Enrichment Services to provide student workshops on college and career readiness for students participating in My Brother's Keeper Family and Community Engagement Program. Be it further resolved that the fee not to exceed $14,800 will be paid through the district's My Brother's Keeper Family and Community Engagement Program grant funds. I believe those are all of the amendments on the B items and all of the discussion on B items. Are there any other?
So we're going to approve it as amended? Like B2A? B2A change.
Yeah. It could be, I'd have to ask, it's,
Maybe we should table that.
Which letter are we looking at?
The same one, because it says 1 year instead of the contract says 1 year.
For what?
B2D.
in all of our discussions, it's been a
B2.
2-year program. But on our resolution, it says 1 year. Is it just a My Portal?
Just amended it.
2-year subscription for the self-directed course.
Right, but not for the MyQ?
Newsletter is includes the 1 year to the newsletter. If you want the newsletter, you have to add.
But is it correct if we amend it to be a 2-year subscription to my Q portal?
No,
That's not,
It's a 1 year to the MyQ portal newsletter.
that's the newsletter, Julie.
oh,
For the courses, you have 2 years.
so can we just amend it to
Then
be
it should-
correct?
Well, no, it should say news.
No, it does say a 1-year subscription to MyQ portal.
But I don't know what my Q
That's a
portal is.
newsletter.
Like, to me, I thought that was the
That was
module.
yeah, that was.
But the contract we're entering into is a 2-year contract.
But can we
It
write it
doesn't
more
say that.
explicitly then,
Yeah.
instead of tabling it, so we can move forward with it? Because
And
I
a
don't
1-year
think it's clear the way it's written. Yeah, because for one, I don't know what my Q portal is. I
But
just
we
thought
could-
that was
we
what
could
Ms.
write,
Palmer just described.
A one-year subscription to MyQ portal, comma, a monthly newsletter.
Where does it say that this
What
contract
about
is
the
for
2
2
years?
years?
Yeah,
What's that?
It should clarify that this contract for the module is for 2 years. It doesn't say that.
because it's not,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong, the newsletter is not the main event here, right?
No,
The
it's
main
not.
event are the modules.
So you could
So-
say the contract is for Ed Cudi for me to provide a
2 years, right.
professional learning
Okay.
experiences.
Right.
So 2 year
And then
before self-paced,
a 1-year
okay.
subscription to the newsletter
Right.
as well.
That would work.
But what does the
Right.
contract say? That's why.
The contract,
No,
the contract has to say 2 years.
Yep, so you can say that incorporated to provide 2-year self-paced professional learning experiences or modules, and then a 1-year subscription to the MyQ portal newsletter. And the self-paced professional learning experiences is also for 1,500 teachers.
Right. So is the language in the contract the same as the resolution? Does it say self-paced professional learning experiences? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I signed it.
Okay, so can I just recap where we are and what I've written down?
No, it doesn't say that. I'm just getting no's. I just want to make sure.
I don't believe it says 2 years in the contract.
Let me
I
see.
mean,
Do you have it, Sloan?
yeah, I have it here.
Oh, you have, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Oh, can we see that one then? Or you can go- that's okay. Oh, is that the same thing? Okay. You have it.
You know what, I'm going to make a suggestion. Can we remove this item, and can we get through the rest of the agenda
It does say,
as?
it does say it terminates, hold on a second. Let me just see this.
Is this it? Oh, Reinventing the Classroom, self-paced. What does it say, 2 years? Under the direction of performance, it would go into terms, right? Terminate June 3rd, oh, the term, terminate on, so we have a cross out in the contract, I don't know which is correct, on page 2 of 41, on the term, it says the term of this agreement shall commence July 15th, 2021, and terminate on, and it's obviously wrong because it's,
2022.
Yeah.
oh, mine doesn't have 22, mine has August 30th, 2021, but it has a strike through and doesn't have a.
Above it, above
Above
it.
it, it says June.
Okay,
So that's just 1 year.
That's on page 2. but we
that is
have-
1 year though.
That's just 1 year.
What's that?
That's
just
1 year.
That's just 1 year. But I want
So-
to make sure that that's not with the MyQ portal,
So Rich, if you look at page 15 of 41,
all right?
What will be the impact if we table this? Is it going to affect the plan that's kind of like in place? In terms of, yeah. So that's why we'd rather just correct it and go through it and make sure that we have it right.
So is there
Was
a
this
way that we
signed?
can write this, is there a way that we can write this resolution so that it reflects what it is that's being presented by Assistant Superintendent Palmer?
But can we set, the problem is that
The contract
it has
stays
to be
different.
consistent with, right, the contract that's being executed. So unless we can write it in a way that, because the contract doesn't seem to be right, unless we're not reading it right.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So we could approve it subject to, which is what I'm trying
The
to
revision
suggest.
of the contract to
Subject
reflect-
subject to the language that we are
We've
presenting.
been in discussions
Is that
with
legal?
them, and we know it's a 2-year deal. The contract is only saying.
1 year.
And it's only saying it terminates on June, you have
June
something different?
2022.
But the contract is right, okay. But that's not in the contract, so.
Page 5 of 17.
Yeah, it,
Unless
see,
we have
what
a
she
special
has
meeting.
here might be, yeah, that's not in here. Okay. So this is the fees and the invoice. And I know we've been in discussions with them, and we do know it's a 2-year deal. It actually does say here, within a year of purchase with access to the experience for a period of 2 years. But it's
Is that
not,
included in our packet?
No.
Because we have, okay.
No.
no, this is not. So what's happened is, what we have here is we have conversations, we have some supporting documentation that says 2 years, but the actual contract that we have to sign only says 1 year. So
This
I
is
think
some-
if we can approve it on the condition that if the amendment is accepted by equity, we should be fine.
Right, I just want to make clear, so we will approve this, but it's Mr. Feliciano before you sign.
Right.
We'll have to make sure that all the language is correct. Is
That
that
the
something we
termination
can do?
date is actually June of 2023, not 2022. See,
Okay with you?
Oh, absolutely. So it's going to be subject to
Correct.
approval not only of myself, but superintendent and council.
Yeah, but what we're authorizing is for you as the president to sign, so really,
But the subject to on the bottom where we're adding,
right.
it would have to be subject to, the terms of the agreement that we're talking
So-
about.
Ms. Gomez, are you writing it out? Okay,
I
so
am.
we can, okay, thank you.
So could she see that? I'll just show
Yeah,
Can't
here you
this-
go.
can't this is what she's-
Is there a rush?
All right, so
So
can,
it's
can,
done.
can we remove this
Well,
one
just
item?
because it's going to impact the price. We don't need
Oh.
it subject to the amendment.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's fine.
Keep it in subject to,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Should be correct. So distracting, right? Good. Ms. Hull, we just suggested we have our next meeting by the pool. Are we all in agreement? Can we say? I think it's a great idea. Ooh.
I'm not telling you anything.
Next week I'll be sitting over there somewhere. That's a good idea. Yeah, but I think we need to have our attorneys approve something. But did she get it? Who keeps track of that? Yeah, well, that's the thing. So then we're stuck here. Is that the same thing? She's. She's talking about the other.
So we're going to try this again. Okay, so that was a very unexpected diversion that we had. But we are trying to dot the i's and cross the t's. We are going to need a motion to amend B2DD. And I believe that council has that language.
Yeah, so this would be a motion to amend agenda item B2DD, which is on page 9 of the agenda, contract for Equidity Incorporated. After that last paragraph, we will be adding a paragraph stating, "Be it further resolved that the execution of this agreement by the Board of Education shall be contingent upon Equidity's written agreement to provide the district with access to the self-paced professional learning experience for a period of 2 years."
Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Moore. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Burgos. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. We do have I don't know if we made the
So that was for
motion.
B2.
There's a motion. Could I have the motion to table, did we table B2M?
Yes, we did.
So we did table B2M.
We voted.
Did you officially table that?
Yes, I believe we.
We just
District
voted on
Clerk-
First, and you
B2A
was the
through
second.
B2HH, right?
What's that?
Just to make sure we voted on the consent agenda with the
We have-
amended.
We haven't voted on anything yet.
We voted
With
on the amendment,
We just voted on the amendment.
Okay.
And we voted to table. District Clerk, can you confirm?
table M.
I don't have a motion to table.
You don't have the motion to table?
Yes, B2M.
I
Yes, we
remade
did.
the motion, Cindy
Yes.
seconded.
Okay, can we redo that? So, motion to table B2M?
We did it already.
Oh, District Clerk,
She's
do you have
just
that?
recording it.
Okay.
It was unanimous, yes.
Yes. Okay, and then the one that we just voted on now was for the amendment of the
B2DD, yes. So make sure that it is a 2-year contract. Are there any other B items that we,
Robert, the amendments for the Graham, the B2X and B2Z, those are as amended. We don't need to vote on them individually because they changed, right? We added the term
as
for B2.
as amended?
We have to vote on those amendments if we're amending them.
Okay.
To vote on
So
those.
B2Z, it would read, be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the president of the Board of Education to enter into and execute a contract between the Brentwood Union Free School District and West Islip Youth Enrichment Services for the term of June 17th, 2021 to August 15th, 2021, and the rest would be as stated on the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Moore, first by trustee Burgos. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. I do believe that those are all of the
No,
changes.
what about, I
B2X.
think B2X.
B2X.
X-ray.
Did we change
B2X.
anything on that? I don't
What
know.
were we doing there? I'm
Wait,
sorry.
I don't know that we changed, Ms. Ortiz, can I ask you? So, do we know that this is for this year's service, that we're paying this person retroactively, right? Oh, this could stay as is?
Okay.
Okay, so we don't need to change B2.
Are there any
I thought this
other
was fine.
B item discussion, changes? Okay. So, B2, be it resolved that the following be approved, B2A through B2HH, tabling item B2M, and all the rest as amended. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Felix. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Be it resolved that the following items be approved, C1A and C1B. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. We are on D items. And if you can just follow me, there are some corrections that we have to make Now, are these amendments that we have to vote on, or just corrections, Council?
This would be an amendment that we have to vote on. I believe there's only one amendment, and that would be to item 10N as in Nancy, if I'm correct.
10M,
10N as in Nancy.
oh, 10N as in Nancy, so
Okay.
the first name there should read Alexandra. It's on our agenda as Alexander, Alexandra, Alexandra Santoro. So that's the first correction, and we're going to have to vote on this. I do believe that there is another correction, and that is that on item number 1, it should start and end dates should be September 3rd, 2021 to September 2nd, 2024. Is that correct, Mr. Lochner?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
And then we are going to also amend item number 3 so that it reads September 4th of 2018 to June 4th of 2023.
Yeah, that's actually,
Okay.
that's correct.
And we are also going to have to correct item number 5 so that the start and end date reads September 1st, 2021 to September 1st, 2025. We are also going to have to correct item number 8.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes.
Feliciano, item number 5, we're also removing the reference to Jarima
yes.
credits?
Yes, absolutely correct. We're also removing Jarima credit
Yours, right.
underneath. And then item number 8, the start and end date should read September 1st, 2021 to September 1st, 2025, also removing the language underneath that says Jarima credit. And the last item, I believe, was
That's it.
provided to us by our community member. Item number 10K should, on the step, should actually read MA 15-2, which is currently reversed. So I believe I caught all of them.
That's fine.
Council, I believe we got all of them.
Yeah.
So I'd like a motion
Mr.
to amend.
Feliciano, I'm sorry, well, I guess we need the motion first, but we will have discussion about
Yes.
some of what was brought up before we vote.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. So could I have a motion
Motion
to amend as discussed? Motion by trustee.
to amend.
Yeah, to amend as discussed. Trustee Burgos, could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Holder Daniel. There is going to be some discussion, some commentary. So because of the items that were brought up by Mr. Moss, Mr. Lochner and his staff went ahead and looked into making sure that all of the issues that were brought forth in terms of the no certification were indeed not the case. And it is our belief that all of the staff that's on D1A are duly certified. So we are going to go ahead and approve all of those staff members as per the agenda.
Mr. Locha, I'm sorry, or yourself explain that.
Oh,
We do
Mr.
have
Locha,
access
absolutely.
to some files that may not be available to the public, so it may
Yeah.
seem like somebody's not.
Yeah, our HR department is privy to more information than you can access at Teach New York. However, Ms. Ortiz just went in and she actually has the certifications of all of the staff members that were identified earlier.
Thank you.
And in terms of the issue that was brought forth, contracting with staff members whose provisional or initial license would expire prior to the end of the contract date, I believe that that was satisfactorily answered to all
Yes,
board
right.
members, right? So there will be no other changes. So with that being said, could, all in favor as amended?
Aye.
What was that?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1B, appointments, resignations, and leaves of non-certificated personnel as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Holder Daniel. Could I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, no.
Oh.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Feliciano. So the motion for D1A was to amend, and now we need a motion to approve.
Okay. Okay, so, thank you very much, council. So let's go back to D1A. D1A, appointments, resignations, and leaves of certificated personnel as proposed on the agenda. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Safiri. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Felix. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Let's go back to D1B, appointments, resignations, and leaves of non-certificated personnel as proposed on the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Holder Daniel. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1C, there is an amendment. Do we have to vote on this amendment, council?
Yes, we would have to vote on an amendment to D1C, approval for legal defense. The amendment would be to remove the name Christian Mariver from the first paragraph of this resolution.
So, could I have a motion to amend as proposed by council?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Felix. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Now we're going to have a motion, I need a motion to approve D1C, approval for legal defense as proposed on the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Any amendments on these?
No.
Okay. D1D, approval for legal defense as proposed on the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Holder Daniel. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1E, approval for legal defense as proposed on the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Felix. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Administrative table of organization. I know that we mentioned this a little earlier. It would read as follows: be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Dwayne D. Avilar, last name is D, apostrophe A-V-I-L-A-R, as assistant principal elementary for 4-year probationary period, effective August 15th, effective August 15th at a salary,
2021.
2021, at a salary as set forth in the negotiation.
To August 15, 2025.
So,
Just the second half.
August 15, 2021.
Yep.
August 15,
Oh, if-
2025.
okay, effective August 15th, 2021 through August 15th, 2025.
Right.
At a salary as set forth in the negotiated agreement between the Brentwood Union Free School District and the Brentwood Principals and Supervisors Organization. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1G.
I'm sorry, Mr. Feliciano, that was a motion to amend. Now we need a motion to approve.
Oh, no, okay. I thought I was motioning to approve.
Would it be
So
amended?
take
Oh,
that.
you know what? Let's do this all over because,
Would
Can
it
we
be
just say
amended?
as
Well, it
amended?
was not filled in, so to fill in that information, it needs to be an amendment to what's on the
so
agenda.
let's go back and do the whole thing over because
It's blank.
got to get it right, make sure that we
All right, so then I just.
don't get slapped. So I didn't say motion to amend, so
Okay.
let's
We're
redo
gonna
it.
scratch it, okay.
It's going to be 10, it's still early. So okay, D1F, Administrative Table of Organization, Assistant Principal Elementary, motion to amend as follows. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Dwayne D. Avilar, D apostrophe A-V-I-L-A-R, as Assistant Principal Elementary for 4-year probationary period effective August 15th, 2021 through August 15th, 2025, at a salary as set forth in the negotiated agreement between the Brentwood Union Free School District and the Brentwood Principals and Supervisors Organization. Could I have a motion to amend?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Holder Daniel. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Can I have D1F, Administrative Table of Organization, Assistant Principal Elementary, as amended?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Holder Daniel. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Moore. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. D1G, Administrative Table Organization, Payroll Manager is removed. No reason to amend or do anything like that. E1, Items for Information. E1A, Student Enrollment Figures as proposed in the agenda. Miscellaneous items. G1A, Old and New Business. Mr. Lochner, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Feliciano. As I mentioned earlier, we have upwards of 4,000 students attending various programs. I think that the community knows that we actually started a summer swim program where we're teaching our young ones how to swim. That is a resounding success. That began now 3 weeks ago. It's a 2-week course. We have a few sessions per day going. As I said, it's for beginner swimmers, and I believe we're having we're in the middle of a 2-week session that will end next week, and then we have a third session that will end towards the end of July. And I think we'll have probably about 300 students who will have gone through that program. Our intention is to continue that in the fall and have Saturday classes in the fall, and then we also hope to eventually open up the pool to the community one night a week have a community swim open pool night. So stay tuned for that. As I said, there's quite a few other things going on. If I could just spend a moment, I'll try to go through quickly here. We have elementary grades 1 through 5 for general education, bilingual, and students with disabilities. We have the Jump Start and Super Summer Academy. They are literacy programs designed to mitigate the loss experienced from the pandemic. Now, you've heard, it's out in the news quite a bit that school districts should do all they can to mitigate the learning losses, and I'm very proud of what Brentwood is doing this summer. As we said, there are upwards of 4,000 students that are participating. Our elementary level is it's bursting at the seams. It's alive, it's vibrant, and I'm really proud of what we're doing down there. So 8:30 to 10:30, I'm just going to quickly go through this. The 8:30 to 10:30, the program offers children 2 hours of engaging reading lessons that focus on developing students' reading comprehension skills while experiencing the pure joy of summer camp. So each morning it begins with a read aloud, and then obviously goes through a whole series of reading lessons for the 2 hours. The second half of the program is designed to build children's math skills and content knowledge from the previous grade. Hands-On Standards is a summer math program designed to deepen understanding of key math concepts. Then we have the Summer STEAM Camp for students entering grades 4, 5, and 6. It is designed to provide students inquiry-based, hands-on experiences in the areas of life science, physical science, engineering, digital photography, and editing. So lots happening down on the elementary level. We have the middle school summer Excelsior program that we began this summer. It's designed to help students be more successful in school. Come September, students are using their district-issued laptops to work in the academic areas of ELA and math. In ELA, students log on to Achieve 3000 for summer intensive period of skill building in literacy and meets the students at their individual reading levels. Lessons are differentiated and thematic to the program with embedded writing assessments. Also within the 4-hour morning, students attend a physical education and social emotional learning block. Partnering with the EOC during this period, there are many offerings around fitness, mindfulness, and traditional sports and games, and etc. There are discussions around themes such as communication, decision-making, bullying, healthy relationships, and self-discovery. So lots going on there, and obviously, you know, that was a requirement for these summer programs that we, you know, that we meet some of these things that I just discussed. But I would like to say that I'm really proud of, first of all, Ms. Palmer and Ms. Ortiz, and obviously Rhonda Young, who could not be here this evening. They've done a tremendous job in establishing these summer programs. And really our teaching staff and administrative staff, we have tons of people working this summer, and it's really exciting to see the kids back in school. They're loving the classes, as Ms. Palmer said, that they're communicating with one another. And also on the middle school level, I love that they're using the laptops and they're getting into the programs and they're really digging deep into the math and the ELA. So really excited about that. The high school, as you know, we have a summer learning program with 3 to 4 hours of academics. The credit recovery helps students who usually would not graduate with their cohort, and especially ESL and bilingual students who do not have enough credits during the school day. So what happens is, obviously, you know, some students have such an intensive course schedule, they're not able to meet their course requirements in an 8-period day. So what we do is a lot of these kids thankfully take some summer courses and evening courses. And I have a whole list of the courses. I shouldn't read them. It's just too much. But we have probably, it looks like upwards of 30 classes going on. And as I said, also, we have 1,093. Let me just quickly read what I have here. The learning loss due to the global pandemic has affected Brentwood students on a historical level. We have 1,093 students enrolled in evening high school. That was the past year, and they earned credits towards graduation. 254 out of 1,100 Brentwood High School students graduated this June due to credits they earned from the evening high school. Some of the things, one of the programs we started this year too is I'm real proud of also, and that was an afternoon credit recovery program that I believe, if I have the numbers here, I believe that had over 100, I think about 150 students who participated in that afternoon. And that was 3 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So what we're trying to do is meet students where they are. I mean, we all know that our students have lots of responsibilities, many of them. They're you know, going to school during the day, working in the evenings, or sometimes vice versa. Sometimes our kids work late into the evening, sometimes into the early morning. And quite frankly, they need opportunities to take some classes. So the 3 to 6, which we started this year, is a resounding success, and we're going to continue with that. And I'm happy with BIPSO. I'm pleased with BTA. We work together to develop these lessons and these courses, and I'm happy to say that they're going to continue and help kids graduate on time, which, as we know, can be a difficult task. And I think what we do really well here in Brentwood is we meet kids where they are, we see a need, and somehow we work to fill that need. And this is one of those examples. I also, just real quickly, if I can, I'm really excited about this. I noticed this. This is just one of the packets that all of our students received on the elementary level when they walked in. One of the things that I'm really proud of, and I told Ms. Ortiz and Ms. Palmer this many times, I'm very proud of the work that they've done, is we don't just have summer school. I mean, we do have summer school, but it's really intentional, the design. And what they have is, I just mentioned to you how they have an ELA block and a math block, and then they obviously have time for free time where they do you know, games and arts and other activities. But it's not just left up to their own devices. What we did was we purchased these math This is really a great packet that every student gets to take home, and, you know, all these manipulatives. And then this is really a wonderful workbook. It's Lit Camp. You've heard us mention Lit Camp many times. And it's really a tremendous workbook for students and for teachers. It goes over all of the activities, and really throughout the course of these 3 weeks, students will work daily in their workbook. Obviously, it's also lots of help for the teachers in designing these lessons. My point here is, and it's getting late at night, so I don't even know if I'm making any sense anymore, to be quite frank with you. But to be honest with you, what I'm really happy with is just that we just don't say, you know what, show up for 3 weeks, and all of these teachers are going to make up their own lesson plans. What Ms. Palmer, Ms. Ortiz have done is they've really designed, with help of obviously administration and teachers, they've really designed these 3-week programs where kids come in, they hit the ground, and it's a very structured learning environment, and obviously opportunities for fun. As Ms. Palmer said, there's camp, and they have, you know, blankets on the ground, they have tents in classrooms, but their learning and teaching is intentional. And that's what I'm real proud about. You know, a lot of times people talk about, you know, we don't have curriculum or we don't have that, and it's so far from true. It is so far from true. And this is just an example, and I'm very proud of the work that we're doing here.
I'm off, sorry. I have a question. You mentioned credit recovery through night school and summer school. Can we revisit the 9-period day as an additional way of either students getting credit recovery or an opportunity to take electives or more advanced placement classes? I know we started a discussion and never really finished it.
It seems to happen quite frequently.
And it's getting close now to.
Yeah, that is a discussion I'd love to have. Obviously, it's something I'm in favor of. I mean, I've spoken to the board. You know, obviously the high school, I would like them to migrate to a 9-period day. I understand, though, the concerns about doing it, you know, right away.
So, Ms. Wiltshire, I just want to, so what the concerns are besides the planning issue? I know the money came up as an issue.
Well, the money has always been an issue because when we did, I happened to be principal of the high school when we went to, no, I'm sorry, when we went from when we went from a 9 to an 8, I was the principal. When we went from an 8 to a 9, I was the associate principal at that time. And it really did take quite a bit of planning, but it also took, we had to hire about 25 additional teachers just in the high school to manage that additional 9th period. Because in essence, you have, you know, 4,000 students who need instruction for another period. And what we did talk as a board and a superintendent, I did like that. I wouldn't mind if we did delay in the high school for 1 year, as we did put some planning into place. I am in favor, however, of the freshman center going to a 9-period day, because we are tight at the freshman center. We've actually done an analysis. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to share with the board. That really will not take that many additional staff members to accomplish it on, you know, at the freshman center, because obviously it's a smaller building, not as large a staff. But what they're experiencing down there is at that level, we have we have over 1,300 students currently enrolled at the freshman center. And 1,200 students is really the maximum there. Ideally, it should be about 1,150 would be the max. Now, that has created a scheduling issue for Mr. Otira, the principal of the freshman center. And what you would do, in essence, if you said, let's go to a 9-period day at the freshman center, in essence, you would give him 46 more classrooms to schedule. And it would make scheduling science classes easier. Kids would go in. Unfortunately, you know, not every student at the freshman center who is scheduled to take studio art is going to be able to take that right now. If we added some additional staff members and a couple of, you know, as I said, that period, which if you had 2 teachers, that would add, in essence, add 60 more students taking studio art. And that hurts those kids as they travel through high school. So in other words, if they leave the freshman center without that studio art credit, they're going to have to take that now as sophomore, juniors, and possibly seniors, and not have the opportunity to take an elective, quite possibly.
But wouldn't some of the retirements that are coming up for 2022 subsidize the cost for
That's
that
a,
ninth period? That-
yeah, absolutely.
Even at the high school, not
At
just
the high
freshman
school,
center.
yeah.
Yeah, at the high school, yeah, that's what we hope, and you know, we have upwards of 37, I believe, retirees scheduled for next year. That will save us a considerable amount of money, and we should be able to handle it. I understand the board's concern, as always, should be, you know, can we financially sustain an additional 9-period day? Because I will tell you, I was there as the associate when we went to a 9-period day, and then I believe in my second year as principal of the high school, we had to go to an 8-period day. And quite frankly, it was because of money. We couldn't sustain
And I
it.
understand that, but I think that was a different time. I think because we have had now the opportunity to use some of the additional funds that we've gotten, we can use that with the plan moving forward, that we can subsidize those salaries with the retirees.
Right.
Because we have, like you said, 37 or so for next year, and we anticipate that we'll be getting quite a few moving forward as our teaching population has aged. And
Right.
we expect a lot of retirement. So
Right.
I just would like to really consider it, even for this year. And I know you're all about the planning, Mr. Lochner, and,
Well,
you know, it does take some planning, but I don't want to take that away from our students either. You know, most districts do have that. And if they have the opportunity to either do credit recovery while they're in school and not have to go to night school, and to take further electives and get additional credits, it's almost like a win-win. I don't see too many downsides to it. I think the financial piece we can really mitigate.
Did the freshman center have the 3 to 6 after school, like the high school?
No.
It didn't, and why didn't we implement that at the freshman center, that 3 to 6? What I'm referring to is at the high school, is
Credit
that
recovery.
right after school, we had a 3 to 6, we called it PM school?
No, well, we didn't call, this year, we didn't call it PM school. We used to in the old days, there was a
Okay.
thing called PM
So-
school. but-
So why didn't we implement that at the freshman center
Well,
last year?
in all honesty, what we did was, this year, it was designed for seniors. Seniors in trouble, who may not graduate on time. So we actually identified those seniors, and that's who took the courses. You know, you do, so I'm all in favor of continuing that program, obviously. I mean, the difficult, we'd have to talk about adding it at the freshman center, because that, you know, it
Okay,
really is a different kind of animal. You have your structured 8-period day or possibly a 9-period day. This is more designed, you know, night school and evening high school, and this program we're speaking about is really about credit recovery, not credit advancement.
Yeah, no, I think you answered my question, and that completely went out, that was what we were focused on because of the issues that we were
Right.
experiencing last year. Okay.
Right, with the COVID.
So is it safe, I mean, I don't want to say is it safe to assume, but I hear a lot about the freshman center, and, you know, it sounds justified. Is it not going to happen at the high school then? Because I think
Well-
if we have an opportunity, I would like to see that.
Well, I mean, if the board says, you know, we can go to a 9-period day and you're ready to hire the additional staff members, I mean, you know, we would do it.
Would you be
But-
able to give us some, just stats on how many kids truly benefit from the 9-period day instead of, because I know some kids now, when they get pushed into study hall, I don't want to see a kid having 3 study halls because,
agree.
you know.
Yeah, and that's a fair point, Simone. That's something that you really, and again, one of the reasons I wouldn't mind an analysis of this, because you do need to, one of the difficulties, and I'm going to say this publicly for the first time, but going from the 9 to the 8 didn't rock my world as the principal, because I really was concerned about adding an extra period and not filling a kid's day. So in other words, you might have a senior with 5 classes and, you know, 1 study hall, 2 study halls and a lunch. Now I don't want them to have 5 classes, 3 study halls and a lunch. So you really have to be, you know, you have to be very intentional in scheduling these kids, our students, to make sure they're getting the maximum out of their schedules.
But however, the idea is to add additional courses so
Right.
that students don't have to take study
Exa-
hall. So we can add, art
Right.
courses.
Right.
We can add, just a variety of different things that.
Well, yeah,
can fill
absolutely.
those. Plus, seniors can have early release if they have the credits.
They do have early
They don't have
release.
to hang around for
Right.
3.
Right.
But doesn't this all depend on smart scheduling, though? That's basically what it comes down to, so that these kids don't have 3 study halls. Because that's what happened in the past. Because I know teachers that worked in the high school, and it was very frustrating for them. And the kids, what they do in
Right.
study halls. So
Well-
let's do the freshman center next year, and let's really get this right if we're going to have the 9-period a program in the high school. Let's do it right.
Ms. Lotion, can you, just to, I guess, summarize this, can you send us
Yeah.
what the plan is? Can you send us what it is that you're envisioning, what the staff is looking at, so that we have something to.
Right. Could I be clear?
You're
Is
talking
it
about
just
the
the
freshman
the
center
freshman
or
center?
just-
I already have the staffing for the freshman center, the additional staffing for the freshman center.
Is it possible to run mock schedules for the
Nice.
kids to see, using, I think it's eSchool, to see how it is that it would be impacted? So I'm sure that we could probably take a point in time, maybe not necessarily last year, maybe the year before, where we could compare what it is, the number of study halls were as opposed to what they would
Right,
be.
right.
So something like that, so that we can have some of the answers that we're looking for.
So you're talking about at the high school also, Robert?
No,
Or
just the
the
freshmen, so it's
center?
just a mock schedule with what you have, and just to have more information.
Yeah, this is terrific. I'm so glad we're having this discussion, because I really do think at the freshman center, it really is needed. We're actually, I'm going to get to the study halls now, and I'm actually there's really not many study halls at the freshman center, but lunch periods are very crowded too. So when you have 1,300 kids and you have an 8-period day and you have to schedule the lunch period, now your lunch periods are quite large. So if we call the freshman center and you say we're going to a 9-period day, they'll be ecstatic, because now you have an additional lunch period where now it won't be so crowded. Okay, if you serve lunch from period 3 to period 8, kids are not going to be as crowded in there.
When do you think you can have that information?
Oh,
to us?
I can have that to you early next week. I already have the additional staff. I had Mr. Otira do that a month or so ago, and he sent me, and I have to be honest with you, I looked at it, quite closely back then, and I do remember it's only like a 0.8 here, we'll say like a 0.8 living environment. Don't hold me to that. I'm just using it hypothetically. It wasn't like I need 20 new teachers. It's, I'll need a point here, I'll need a point, here, maybe a 1.0 there. So it's not a tremendous amount of staff that you're adding. And I think you get a bang for your buck at the freshman center. If you can get the kids leaving the freshman center with a significant amount of credits, then it's easier for them as they travel through the rest of their career in the high school. The problem is if they're behind 1 or 2 credits, it gets very difficult for them to catch up.
Mr.
Can we
Lawson,
not-
using your rationale about having this in the high school, can you do a mock-up of what the schedule would be like in the high school, even though we're not going to put it in the high school, or maybe we will, I don't know. But can you do that using this year's numbers?
You can. Remember, the high school is a monster. It has like 4,500 students, and we have all different departments. So I couldn't,
It
really
won't be
tell.
exact.
Right, but I couldn't do it. I'm glad, if you're talking about for next year, yeah, we could run a mock schedule
Yeah.
at some point with some, and remember, it has to have possible staff members added to that schedule. So yeah, we could do that for the future. And again, it's one of the reasons, and Ms. Feliciano, and I know the board and I, we've discussed, I would like to have a 9-period day at the freshman center, but at the high school, but if it was delayed a year, why we did some, we looked at some courses that we'd like to put in. For instance, some business courses. I'd like to expand our business. I'd like to expand our computer courses, computer offerings.
There are a
and-
lot of options. I want
Yeah.
to see more careers, college and careers
Absolutely.
courses.
Right.
I just don't want to lose sight of that 9-period day at the high school. You know, it's easy for us to do the 9th grade center now, but I don't want to be in the same place next year. So I
Right.
really do want to move forward. I think, Paula, that's an excellent idea, if we can get a mock-up, you know,
Right.
and just, you know, put in some courses, what we would like to see.
Right.
And anticipate the number of students that would sign up for them, just so that we can have a clearer picture.
Sure.
Like, I am a little saddened that it's not happening this year, and I know we've had the conversations, but.
No, I'm saddened too. I mean, the thing is, I do understand the board's position, however. I mean, you know, this is the first time since I've been superintendent
Well,
that
some
we
of us
actually.
are of the position to have it, so it's not a total board position.
No, I understand, but I mean, this is the first time that we've had, you know, we've had a budget that we've got an increase in state aid that we're very happy with. So I think what happened is, I think some people are a little gun shy, you know, about the future. And so I didn't push it too much because I understand that. I think we're in a good place. I mean, according to the governor, it's in law now that they're going to fully fund. But I think we're all kind of anxiously awaiting next year to see what that brings.
And this is for 3 years, though, is that correct?
Yes.
Foundation aid. So what happens after? Let's say we do have the 9-period day in the high school. So we have it for 2 years. What happens if when we don't get the funding?
Yeah, that's.
All the retirees, that's.
Yeah, but,
Yeah, but still.
you know, I said this at another meeting, and Eileen and I just both referred to it. We have to commit to it. Once we commit to it, we
Right.
have to make a commitment that this is going to be a priority. And as people retire, it does free up money, because we're not going to replace a teacher at the same salary that they retire
That's
at.
why we have to look at the whole picture.
I agree,
I wanted
Paula.
also, believe me, I was very upset when we had to get rid of
Right,
it
right.
back when we did, because it was terrible, it really was.
But I
I
also,
felt
you
that
know-
kids were getting shortchanged.
Right.
So I don't want to get into something and then down the road, oh, well, you know, we really don't have the money, and here we go again.
But I think we really need to look at the benefits, and I would like to have some community forums to discuss it as well, because I remember at least one parent coming to the mic and expressing her concern about adding anxiety to her son, that now he has to have another class. So I think we need to
Absolutely.
really, you know, just sort of
Let's
like frame
plan it
it
the
in a
right
way
way.
that, you know, there will be benefit to it, and that
Right.
everybody will kind of understand.
But let's do
What it
smart
is.
planning. Let's really
That's fine.
look into it. I absolutely agree with Rich. You know, we want to do it the right way, especially at the high school. You know, I would love to have it tomorrow. I never wanted it to leave, but now when every step that we take, we've got to make the most of every
Right.
step. I don't want to
So I just don't want to have the conversation next year about money again. I think that if we
Well, it's
commit
always
right
gonna
now
be-
that we're
it's
going
always
to
gonna
move
be
it
about
forward,
money.
and
Everything
that,
is about money.
I know it is, but if we make a commitment that we're going to do it, then
Not the kids.
But we
it
can do
just,
it, but
you know, it's
let's
a matter
do
of
it
mechanics, working out the courses, the staffing,
Right.
and, you know, all the other pieces that go
So
along
let's
with it.
give Rich and his staff a chance to really work on the high school.
Right, but am I hearing that it's okay to go with the freshman center? Or do you
Give us-
want me to
give
send
us
you
the
some?
information.
Okay, I'll send you
Give us
the
the
information,
information,
sure.
That go.
Can I call up the first speaker, Mr. Fritz?
Good evening, Joe Fritz, Brentwood resident. I think what I have to say resonates what you just discussing with respect to the particular advancements in the educational process. First, I'd like to congratulate those who won the election in May. I want to wish our winners the best of luck. I wish you the best of luck because by giving your best, the residents of Brentwood School District will prosper. I'm ecstatic that the Brentwood School District will be flush with federal and state funding. After 15 years of troubled times, 1.5 years of troubled times in education, the federal and state government will be providing Brentwood School District with the necessary finances to recharge their educational programs. I ask that the administration, along with the school board, to be careful stewards of the monies that you will be given. Every department, of course, will have their own wish list. When I was on the board, I had the opportunity to hire many administrators. I always ask the candidates a hypothetical question. What would you do with $1 million given to you by a foundation to be used at your discretion for any program you liked? The question, while a simple one, could be daunting for a candidate because they had to think on how best to spend a windfall provided to them, and depending how they spent it, the newly found resource would be a measure of their thought process. Well, I asked the same question to the administration and to the board. You have been given an opportunity to have vast sums at your disposal. How you use them will be a measure of the success of our district. I ask you to be careful. Brentwood educators can use this opportunity to transform the Brentwood School District to greater heights. And your decisions will be the process where the Brentwood community succeeds. There is no excuse for mediocrity, no excuse for not using your abilities to make our school system flourish. In 5 years, you will see the fruits of the decisions made in the next 9 months. Decide wisely. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Fritz. You know what, and I failed to outline, we are trying to make changes to how it is that we are running these meetings. And Mr. Fritz, I mean, without even myself saying it, you did exactly what it was that we were hoping. And we were hoping to have this second half of public comment be exactly that, so that you're addressing the board, you have 3 minutes to, say what's on your mind, of course, respectfully, and without interruption on our side. We would just be absorbing the information that you're giving us, the comments, for our own reflection and for our own self-discussion. So what you did was exactly what we were hoping, and what we are hoping that the rest of these comments period reflects. We're not going to do the exchange. It's not going to be a tug of war between the speaker and the Board of Education. It is going to be a moment that we are just going to listen to the community member or the person at the podium. We are going to try to limit that to a 3-minute uninterrupted session. So to that, Mr. Fritz, thank you very much.
And will that be
our
for agenda items also in the beginning? A
What's
similar,
that?
similar.
So that would be very similar to yeah. So, I mean,
Because
well, the agenda
that's also
items,
important.
we'll discuss what we do with the agenda items. So next speaker is Rodley Borgella. Mr. Borgella? No? Mr. Lochner, there was an email that was sent in to district clerk, and it's a lengthy email. It is, I'm going to try to summarize this.
Okay.
And basically, this is a member of the community who is very, very concerned that we will go back to having that mask mandate. Basically, the community member is saying that, that this is something that's been terrible for her child, and she's actually saying that it has long-term health consequences. There's concern there. So the request and the comment is about having to go back to that mask mandate. I don't know if this is really a question, but I just wanted to let you know that that was what the concern was. I'm going to pass this off to you so that you can read it and just,
Okay.
all right?
Do you want me to?
Speak to what is required in the school district in terms of executive orders and mask mandates and things like that. That's not a decision that the board or the administration makes when it comes to things like that.
Yep.
Did you want me to comment on that?
No, that's
Okay.
just, if you can, I mean, I think that he has said it quite enough, and this is just a moment for us to can listen to. Mr. Como.
Okey-dokey. I have a few questions. All right, one in reference to B2I, donations to the district. All right, I don't know if the board knows this, I know Mr. Loshner does. All right, the banners that we put up for the 22 graduates who were killed in action from Vietnam until present, all right, I'm donating them to the district. I hope the district accepts them. Okay, so I just want to let that be known, okay, because I think you have to vote on all acceptance of gifts to the district, okay? Let me see here, I got, talking about the starting time of this meeting. At the reorganization meeting, I think it was, we were discussing the time because at that time it was 5 o'clock and we were discussing it. I don't ever remember a vote going for 7:30. Am I wrong? So why wasn't it done at 8 o'clock? And then, according to you, Mr. Feliciano, all right, the minutes were put up at 1, okay? I didn't look for the minutes at that time, but then at 5:06, I get a phone call, robocall, saying the meeting starts at 7 o'clock, at 7:30. Well, I come in, first thing I do is I get the agenda, I go through the agenda, I write my notes down, and then I'm ready to go. Who made it at 7:30? Why did the public only know about that at 5:06 this evening? Just a comment. I can expect an answer hopefully in the future. All right? Assistant Superintendent and Senior of the high school, of the secondary schools. Are we talking about anybody taking over that position?
Mr. Como, this is a comment period? Or
No, this is a question and answer period, okay? I ask questions, I expect an answer. We can't keep doing this just to hide the actions of the board, what they do in executive session. This is why the public has the right to ask a question. And at every board that I attend, Suffolk County, Town of Isle, they have a question and answer period. All right? Why are we trying to be so secretive? What are we hiding? So I'd like to know, has there been a discussion on who might take over that position?
Again, Mr. Como.
So you're not answering it?
We're not answering.
No answer, Mr. Feliciano?
Yes.
Okay. How many deans do we have at this present time?
Mr. Como, can you finish?
No answer. Okay. How many deans do we expect to have in September?
Again, Mr. Como.
No answer. Okay, good. We're doing well. Okay. How come the air conditioning in this building ain't working? All right. We've had meetings at South Middle School. Why couldn't we do that? We had meetings in the past at the Bellinger Room. Why couldn't we sit there? We've had meetings in the Sonderling cafeteria. All right. Why can't we have them there? Instead, you bring the public in here, you tell them to be at this meeting, you won't answer their questions, you let them sit here for a total of 1, 2, 3 hours, all right? And we can't get a damn answer from you guys. That's sad. No answers. Why did we remove the payroll manager from our items? No answer?
Mr. Como, can you finish?
I'm just
your comment,
asking you, is
please?
there an answer?
Can you please finish? I've already explained myself.
No answer, okay. All right. Have we replaced the person who is doing transportation? It's a year now. No answer.
Can you replay, I didn't
Excuse
understand
me?
that one. Just repeat that last question, I didn't.
Well, we got,
Who was doing
the
transportation?
person who was in charge of transportation is no longer with us, for whatever reason. Have we replaced that
Last
person?
year. Last year. Okay, right.
Yeah, yes, last year.
Was last year. I guess no answer? That's good, we keep going here. All right?
Like, can we just answer some of these? I mean, some of them are simple answers. I mean, like the transportation one, that was last year. Of course, we have a plan in place. That's been it's taken effect for a whole year already.
Yeah, we do have
So why
someone
not?
in charge of transportation.
That's right.
Yes.
So we replaced that person.
Yeah,
Somebody doing the job.
yes, we have
But they're
someone
not
in charge of
specific.
transportation. Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, it's not my meeting, so I don't want to jump in.
No, it's Mr. Feliciano's meeting.
Well, it's the board.
It's the Board of Education meeting, and this was something.
And you're the chairman of that board.
And this was part of conversations that we had as a board to try to change the dynamic of these meetings so that they did reflect something that was a little bit less chaotic, to the point that Mr. Lochner said that we are trying to kind of reel this in and bring this, put this out in a new format. We're allowing for 3 minutes of comment
All right,
on.
then stop taking up my time by filibustering.
So actually, the time is exceeded. I'm okay with that because this is all experimental. This is what we're trying to do. So the questions that you have, I think that, you can send to the district clerk, right? I believe that's something
Mr.
that.
Feliciano, I don't think the intent of the changes we made was to not answer questions.
That's
I
right,
really am a
thank
little
you.
perturbed right now. Like, I think the intent was to curb the time, and there were some questions that maybe if they're not answerable now, we can, sort of, ask somebody else to answer them at a later time. However, I think that we can answer some of the
Listen,
answers are simple.
I am just a representative of the majority of the board. That's what my role is here. I cannot act by myself.
Right.
Simple as that. I'm just one vote on this board.
Right.
If the board majority, if you guys want to go back to the way it was, you just let me know. But right now, what I feel like I'm doing is representing the majority. So all I'm trying to do is honor that. So we can have discussion about what it is that we'd like to see into the future, but all I'm doing is, again, trying to effect the change that we as a board discussed.
But we cannot affect change that's going to not be, that's going to be detrimental, truthfully, to the community if they're not getting their answers. I think, there's a certain amount of transparency that we need to have. I think that, it helps our public relations, that we have a good relationship with the community, and just the whole parent engagement and community engagement.
Listen, again, I am just the spokesperson
Okay, so-
for the majority. So what I would suggest is maybe there is a middle ground, maybe there is a modification. Maybe these questions should be submitted to the district clerk. We'll have them answered the way we're trying to answer agenda items.
Maybe now that the board has heard from the people that attend the meetings, they might reverse that policy. Okay? So the board, the 4 majority members of the board, take note of that. Okay? Because I've attended more school board meetings than anybody in this room. Okay? Since the well, I won't say my age. Okay? But
The thing, we don't want everybody yelling at us.
I'm not yelling. If I get answers, I wouldn't have to
You're
yell.
absolutely right, but that's one of the reasons
All
why
right?
they're doing it.
I don't remember anybody charging the desk. Not even when Jeffrey Fine was here. And he was out there. Okay? He didn't even do it. All right?
Some of the questions that
Go
you
ahead.
did ask, I don't know if we could answer it even if we wanted to.
Why not?
But some we
Because
can.
some of them have to do with personnel issues, and we
No.
can't.
Like, are we replacing the transportation person? Or are we
No, I'm not
eliminating
talking
the
about that
position?
particular question.
Are
Then
we eliminating the position is what I'm asking. Okay? That could be answered. Okay?
I'm not talking about that particular, there was a couple there that we've gotten into an issue where people will say certain things that we really should not discuss by law.
Then you tell no, the only three things that are done in executive session are personnel,
That's what I
all right,
just said.
special education, and contracts.
And some of the.
Everything else has to be discussed in public.
Let's just bring it down.
It's the microphone, it's not me.
But you don't even need a microphone.
Okay, I won't use it.
No, what I'm trying to say is we do have to kind of bring it down a little bit because, maybe this is me, but, there's no civility anymore in this place. Absolutely none. Andy, I know you and I know where your heart is, okay? But just bring it down. Because we sit here.
I'm talking the way I normally
No,
talk.
you don't.
This is a microphone, see, it makes it louder.
Don't use it. But what I would like to say is there's some questions, a couple of them, we
Like
could
what?
not answer.
The number of deans?
Not the number of deans, and
You mean our
who knows?
superintendent doesn't know how many deans we have in the school right now?
Right
How many, right now?
we have 3 deans right now.
How many are we going to have in
But we didn't
September?
even, but we didn't even get
we
to
have none
them.
right
These are questions that we can't answer right now. Maybe at the next board meeting, we might be able to.
In less than 60 days from the opening of school, we don't know what our staff is going to be, our deans. Okay? Come on, Paulie. I would think you're smarter than that.
I am smart, but I know,
Okay.
I could easily say, well, we're in discussion now. Maybe it could be because we want to change the model. Maybe because we've got this extra money, we want to change it.
Then say that. By saying, I'm not going to answer your question, move on. I'm not going to answer your question, move on. Nope, I'm not going to answer your question, move on. That's not telling the public anything. If someone of authority would say, you know what, we're working on that, I can live with that. I can live with working. Well, not really, I don't like the work. Okay? But the thing is, we gotta know answers. You want people to come to the school board meeting? The other day, I put out a notice in the moms and dads, both of them, that there's a school board meeting at 8 o'clock, because that's the time it normally starts. And then I find out at 5:06, it's at 7:30. Okay? I'm not saying that you're trying to hide this, but you did. Okay? Why wasn't that discussed at the reorganization meeting? You had a big discussion for about 20 minutes. All right? And we didn't settle on a time to start the meetings. Wrong. If you don't have a time, it reverts back to where it was, which was 8 o'clock. What does our calendar read for next year? Does it say 8 o'clock? Does it say 7:30? Does it say 5 o'clock that you recommended, Mr. Feliciano? It's 13 minutes now.
That is something we will have to speak about because we
Come over and
haven't
say
voted on
something.
it. We haven't voted on our calendar yet.
No,
so.
no. No, I had to.
This is why we had.
Good. The only person who can say I'm out of order is the president.
We'll be here for 4 hours, so why don't you stop and sit down? So please,
All right, I have a couple other things here.
you like, see, like a speak.
June 17th,
Out of order.
June 17th meeting, okay? Which was on whatever that's called, all right? YouTube,
Excuse me.
all right?
Could y'all please have
Turn
him sit
around
down?
and
Because
you
he's
say
holding
you
up
were
the
hiring
meeting. It's
a
13
survey.
minutes. If he can continue
You
to
said
talk,
you-
then I'll talk.
John,
No, you're still talking.
it doesn't
Please
matter,
have a
as
seat
long as
down
I
there.
have the floor.
You don't have
he
the
can't
floor, you have
interrupt
3
me.
minutes. Your time limit is up. Why don't you go
Did
have a
anyone
seat?
tell me except this
Please have
gentleman?
a seat.
Good.
Please have a seat.
At this point, at this point,
You're not going to be heard.
look, at this point,
Why are we hiring a survey?
Please.
at
have a seat.
this point, I tried to enforce what I thought were the conditions that we were going to try to meet as a board. I no longer feel like I have the authority to say that we have a 3-minute time limit. Because
Nobody said that.
because that was what we said we were going to try to keep people to as a board. We said that we were going to try to keep people to a 3-minute time limit.
Why don't you have the authority? I think you
Well,
do have the
because,
authority.
because as soon as I say that your time has expired, my concern is, well, let him finish, let him finish. So we could be here.
That's generous of you, and I get it, but I think we can have a protocol where we keep to the 3 minutes.
Okay.
And if there's time, maybe he could come back, or then he could direct the questions to.
So I started my stopwatch late, right? And I do know for a fact that he is approaching 14 minutes.
Okay, so I think it's a
So
fair.
what do we do now?
Okay, so we can.
I have an answer,
Ms. Burgos, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is that we ask Mr. Andy to
Mr.
please let
Como,
other.
can you
I have, I have an
Mr.
answer.
Como, Andy.
I will step aside, let this gentleman ask his questions. I will wait to be the last one to speak. But I have 2 more questions to bring up.
I don't believe
I
that
don't
he
know how
has a
many
question. I
speakers we
believe
have.
that what the gentleman was
I think he
saying was
does.
that the time had expired.
Do we have other people
Because he
waiting?
Yes, we
wanted
do
to
have
ask
other
a
people.
question, he said.
Then he should sit down.
He said he had
Sorry,
a
Andy.
question, so I'll
But
let him
that, Andy,
take over.
it doesn't matter, we
And
have a
with all
list
due
of
respect,
people,
we gotta
really.
keep some kind of decorum,
Yes.
and we have to keep some kind of structure to the meetings. So, and I know you're in agreement that you are more than fine in stepping away after 3 minutes and coming back to the end of the line. Let's do that, you know.
That's fine by me.
Let's just do that, see how it goes. We're just trying to make these meetings efficient and develop a mutual respect between the community and the board. And
No
that's what's
problem.
been that's what's been
Eileen,
lacking.
no problem.
I appreciate
Okay?
it.
But since we've not had a public meeting,
I understand
all
that.
right, there's a lot of questions that have to be brought up over the last
And I
year.
understand that, but we
Okay,
can't, we
I'll
can't
come
make
back.
that for 2 years and 1 night.
Okay, I'll come back. Sir?
No, it's up to Mr.
So the
Feliciano.
next person is,
Well, whoever's on your list.
I don't know, I don't think that's mine, right?
No, somebody else's ring.
It's mine.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you had a timer on.
Can you turn it off?
I got a phone call coming in.
All right, so Mr. Moss,
Who's calling you? 10:45, Andy.
A lot of people want to know what happens.
there you go. Mr. Moss,
Oh, my God. Can we have a fan? I'm sorry, but.
You know, I would like to just say something. We have a lot of people watching these board meetings, and how we conduct ourselves in this board meeting that's the impression they get of not the Brentwood School District, but our community. So when you get up and this is my time, and there's no civility, people look at this and say, this is what the people of Brentwood are? We're better than that.
Who said I was not releasing?
I'm not saying it, but when we don't have any civility, we look bad as a community. Not just this board, but all of us in this room. And we've got to be mindful of that. At the last board meeting, I can tell you what people were saying about my community. And I couldn't say anything. I had no comeback for that. So let's be mindful of it, please.
thank you, Ms. Moore. Mr. Moss, I'm going to, before you start, hit the timer. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening again. My name is William Moss. I mentioned to you earlier that I am an experienced educator, both here in the Brentwood School District as well as in another district out here on Long Island, where I'm a school administrator. I do have a couple of comments additional to what I mentioned earlier. There is a 4A, which is D1A 4A. I see a teacher's name there. And I'm a little confused as to how this is a recall of an excess teacher from the Pell. I don't have any records of this individual being excessed, and I don't understand how an excess teacher could be on step 3. I think that you all made a grave mistake in accessing administrators last summer. It was unnecessary to access 3 administrators last summer. I have good reason to believe that some of those positions were accessed for both personal reasons as well as issues with racism and discrimination. In particular, the human resource coordinator was accessed. That human resource coordinator was one of the first people in this district to ever make teaching positions, individual teaching positions, eligible to any person regardless of color. She was the first and the bravest person in this district to do that. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. What happened to her as a result? She was accessed. Someone who was an affiliate of equal employment, a friend to equal employment opportunity, was accessed. We had the only person of color to be an administrator in the food services department, a Brentwood graduate who was accessed last summer. Now, that same person who had claimed discrimination here in the district was retaliated against. Within less than 3 months of her receiving a no probable cause determination from the Division of Human Rights, she was accessed. I'm not sure what legal advice you're getting, but the lawyer should have told you that anything within 6 months is within the time frame of retaliation. Some of you who are here who may have children of color, who may have stepchildren of color, who may have grandchildren of color, need to understand that every action that you make or every action that you don't make that has an impact on the livelihoods and educational experience of the students in the community matters. On this docket tonight, you have seven elementary teachers. Like I mentioned earlier, I can't find any record of them applying recently within the past 6 months for these elementary positions. This district has a history of simply what I found out in November of 2019 to be ripening, a term that I have never heard of in my life before November 2019. That a temporary contract for a substitute. Now, this is no offense to substitutes. Some substitutes are great. But I went to Brentwood High School. I grew up in this neighborhood, and some of the substitutes weren't that great. So I am really questioning, as a resident and taxpayer, why the board would engage in a practice that, one, decreases the quality of educator by simply ripening temporary substitute positions into probationary substitute positions without a holistic and transparent and equal employment opportunity selection process. I'm having trouble understanding how any person on this board who is a person of color, and you call yourself a professional in the 21st century, and you don't think it's important that positions get posted, that African Americans, Hispanics, and any other Native Americans, Asians, have opportunity to get these jobs. That they are simply gifted to people because they worked here for a year as a sub. Let me explain why that's problematic. There are people in this community who trek all the way to New York City every day, who leave their families. Some of them are single, black, mothers. By the way, black women are the most educated people in the world, just to let you know. Go all the way to the city. Some of them have doctoral degrees. They have no access to these elementary school positions because you want them to be permanent substitutes beforehand. Does anybody see a problem with that? Highly qualified residents don't have access to teach here over individuals who are just getting started. At some point, reasoning should take over. Like I said earlier, pick a person on this dais, you probably have a bone to pick with me. But don't shoot the messenger, or don't shoot the message because you hate the messenger. The message is clear. Equal employment opportunity is a thing. It means that the job is posted and that people get a fair shot to show their stuff and show that they're the best person for the job. That's what it means. That's not what's happening here in Brentwood, not according to my records for these elementary teaching jobs. Remember the black woman example that I just gave you? Many people here in this district qualify for that. Well, how many black elementary school teachers do we have in Brentwood? Out of well over 400 elementary school teachers, only 6 are African American, all women. Only 6. Not even enough to put one in every of the 11 elementary schools. For you all to read that in every legal document that I've been serving to you, and then to do this in the summer of 2021, after George Floyd, after so much that has transpired over the past 16 months, I'm baffled that this would be sitting here like this again. At what point do you believe that black women and some men should be able to have access to elementary school teaching jobs in this district? One hasn't been hired here in over 7 years. In the past 4 years, since you've been sitting on this board in a majority, 0 have been hired that I know of for elementary school teaching. Correct me if I'm wrong right now. Please do. I would love to be incorrect on this, but I don't think I'm wrong. And the 30 that I counted before I walked into this room today is now 37. So out of 37 elementary school teachers who were hired by Mr. Lochner, who were hired by the majority of this board, and I do believe most of it's unanimous votes anyway, so it's all of you. 37, 0 have been black. 0 in Brentwood, which, by the way, yes, has the highest number of Hispanic families in Suffolk County, but we also have the highest number of black families in Suffolk County. And that head count matters. It doesn't just matter to blacks. It matters to everyone. Because those black teachers, who are pillars in the community, help to defy the negative stereotypes against African Americans that are prevalent to this day. That cause police officers to pull triggers faster, judges to give harsher sentences, rap artists to say ridiculous things in lyrics. It even causes us to have, dare I say, books on this curriculum that have the N-word in them. Is To Kill a Mockingbird still on the curriculum here? You're not answering questions? Well, let me tell you about To Kill a Mockingbird. It was upsetting to me when I read it at the Freshman Center, when the Freshman Center first began in this district. It was upsetting to me then to see the N-word in To Kill a Mockingbird as a 14-year-old. And I had great friends in Brentwood from all different races and faces. And the 9th grade center was a tough place to be. But it was the first time in my life that a Brentwood student called me nigger. I wonder why. Well, it's on the curriculum. Now that I'm a father I know that children learn from example. They learn from exposure. They learn from being shown how to do something. Whether we want to admit that some of the classics should be around forever as such, by the nature of what they're talking about and showing, they're teaching our students how to use the N-word. And I'm living proof to tell you. Because it happened at the Freshman Center, where it was on the curriculum in 1991, 1992. So if that book is still being read there, or still being read at East Middle School, or still being read at the high school, or any other book that has the N-word in it, is still being read, then yeah, we're teaching our kids how to use the N-word. And so I'm glad I have had the opportunity to say the N-word and make some of you as uncomfortable as I was in 1991. Because today, well, you may think it's a yawning matter, but today, our students still have to go through that. Your son might have to go through that. Please look into the second year of 4A. I won't mention the name as to not embarrass the individual. If a person is accessed, I'm finding it hard to believe that they could have 3 years of experience. Because I can count, math person, so are you, Mr. Lochner? Step 1 is the year 1920. Year 2, they're accessed. And here they are getting their job back. How are they on step 3? Mm-hmm. I have shared a lot of the concerns about replacing Dr. Akil. Dr. Akil, according to my records, is the administrator who hired the most African Americans. Like I said, there were only 7 hired out of 160 teachers over the past 3.5 years. I haven't done the last 2 months yet. She hired the majority of those individuals. So I'm concerned with her leaving. I am. Because if she's hiring the majority of those individuals, then what's going to happen after she's gone? And so I'm alerting the Board of Education that you have to do better. It can't just be left up to Dr. Akil, who's no longer with us, to hire the majority of African American teachers in the district. And when you're at a stone cold 0 for elementary teachers, there's an investigation that needs to be done there as to how that's happening and how that needs to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moss. And you know what, and just thank you for not forcing the issue on questions. I mean, the amount of time was certainly in excess of what we hoped for, but I do give you tremendous amount of thanks for trying to respect what it was that we were trying to do here. Board, are we inviting Mr. Como back to the microphone? Ms. Burgos?
Is it,
It's 11 o'clock.
is there?
I'm not going to rule out something to then have board members say, Robert, this is your meeting and this is what we're going to blame you for. I am going to follow what it is that the majority wants to do or doesn't want to do. Ms. Burgos, I guess the decision is yours.
Well, Mr. Como, are there questions that you could send in so that we can, is that okay? Is that okay that you send them in and then we respond at our next meeting? Okay, so, what am I, but can we set a time limit? Because I'm sorry, we can't be here another half hour.
That's it.
I don't know that we will have answers.
We're
We
just,
haven't even heard the
if we,
questions.
yeah,
So can you-
if we're trying to hold if we're trying to hold the community to a certain protocol, we had two speakers, Mr. Fritz and Mr. Moss, who actually respected what it was that we were asking, and I find it, a little hard to say that, we should entertain questions from one person versus everybody else. Listen, I'll do what the majority says, because that's my role as president, right? So if Mr. Cuomo is invited back to the podium, can we say, hey, instead of asking questions, can you finish with a comment? Give you 3 more minutes to make the comments and finish whatever it is. Maybe he's making rhetorical questions so that they don't have to be answered, and that we could contemplate as a board, and maybe you could pick those questions up and bring them to us as a board member.
I don't think that we can commit to answering the questions. I just want to hear the questions. And
So,
then, Andy, if
Mr.
you
Como,
just
if
say
you
it, but don't
can, you have
expect
3
an
more
answer
minutes
because-
to just please stand up, have a rhetorical session with the board, and we will be good, so that we can try to adjourn this meeting.
3 minutes.
First of all, I was told just 20 minutes ago that I could come back and ask these last 2 questions. Okay? Now we're saying that I might not be able to get an answer. At the June 17th meeting, okay, we hired a surveyor. What do we need a surveyor for? We also said we were going to have a playground. Okay? Where are we going to put this playground?
Again, Mr. Como, I'm trying to be respectful of the 2 speakers that came before you.
You're correct. I understand that.
That's all I'm trying to do. So I'm going to hold to the same protocol. What we can do is we can try to answer some of those questions at our next meeting. I do believe that the answers are there. Again, I'm just trying to be fair. Mr. Como, please, I do respect what you're trying to do.
I understand that. But Mr. Fritz didn't have a question, first of all. And the questions that Mr. Morse did ask, he got no answer either. Okay? So you can't turn around and say they were more respectful than I am. You can't say that. I'm just demanding an answer. That's all. They might be a better gentleman than I am. That's probably right, Phil? You are a better gentleman than I am. Right? The thing is, I want to know where we're spending our money. We got all this money sitting in accounts now, and I've asked that we set up a committee of community people along with the school board, okay, to look at what we can use this money for. And make that proposition, give it to Mr. Lochner like we did a couple of years ago, okay? Haven't heard a word in 2 months. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you. So, to the point that that was made here, we have taken notes on some of the concerns that were brought up. I know that council took some notes as we were listening. I know that Mr. Lochner did also. It's not being ignored. What we're trying to do is, again, just trying to have this be a public comment session. Some of the answers we just won't have, as Ms. Moore said earlier, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to look into it. I'm telling you right now that I witnessed this happening as you were speaking, to the point that was made in terms of some of the expenditures. I believe that was addressed a little earlier in our meeting. I think that Mr. Lochner will be making a somewhat, I'm not sure if it's a complete presentation on what we are going to propose, but I believe that there will be a presentation in our August meeting, we hope, so that we can answer some of the questions that are being proposed. With that being said, I want to thank everybody here, all the board members, council, Mr. Lochner, Ms. O'Connor, and the staff and security, everybody here. I know it's a really long, hot night. We wish everybody well, and I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Felix. Are you sure?
Second.
I didn't ask for a second yet. Just a minute. Hold on. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Holder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, so moved. Have a wonderful night.